Nice try, OBS. We are wise to your wily ways. Off you go.
Not wise enough to check first.
Good evening, all. Welcome to everyone tuning in for part 2 of Time and Tide, a Scion adventure. We are going to rejoin our investigative party, our investigators from the British Cultural Investigatory Services, on the trail of a missing artifact in 1971 Cambridge. As it's been a little while, would you care to reintroduce your characters, please?
Oh dear.
Okay.
Let's start with Knight, I guess, since on my screen.
Knight's still trying to find his character sheet. I had it on one tab, but I've got so many different tabs open. But it's vanished. It's not on that tab either. There it is.
It's when you're hearing random pings and you just want to check.
So, I am playing Seth Reshtard, who is a bit of a transient profession-wise. Studied medicine, has done some work as a paramedic, and is now a private investigator. And has worked with the service only fairly recently, in the grand scheme of things, but in terms of looking to find new experiences.
Seek out new life, new civilizations.
And destroy them.
Yes.
Thank you. Hintfishy.
Okay, so I am playing Dr. Owen Fitzhendrick, who has an interestingly varied cultural heritage, which we won't go into again now. Suffice to say for the moment, however, that he is a scion of Braggy who is nevertheless Welsh. With a German name.
Famously Norse.
Yeah, he is an academic. He is best known outside of his work at the BCI for his 2 successful translations, one into Welsh, modern Welsh, and the other into English of the Mabinogion.
Okay.
Thank you. And Druttercup.
I'm playing another Welshie, Alex Lewis, formerly flight lieutenant with the RAF, who encountered something strange when playing taxi driver for a group of BCIS investigators in a very hot desert region where some terribly unpleasant conflicts were going on. Not a war, technically. As a result of this, basically she beat down their door and nagged them into submission, and they gave her a job. Her favourite occupation at the moment is kicking doors in. She's very much the sort of the Doyle, the Bodhi of the team, and is generally seen wandering around in army boots, forces boots, jeans, and her flying jacket.
If I remember rightly, in keeping with her identity as the Bodhi of the team, does indeed have a capri.
She does indeed have an orange 1970 Ford Capri called Ramon.
Nice. And last but not least, Shard Angel.
Playing Regan Finley from the U.S. Ended up with I can't even think of the name of it. Heard it multiple times now. Ended up with the group
BCI?
Yes. While basically, it was legal mitigation for an artifact that belonged to someone in Europe, but an American company was trying to maintain control of it. And that artifact was also of interest to
The BCI.
BCI.
To the BCIS.
Yes.
Cool.
BCI.
And who is your patron?
Yes. Yeah. So.
Oh, right. My patron is Osiris.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes, forgot to mention, mine's Senanyos, so I get the nice aggressive Celtic deity.
And I didn't mention my patron. I am a son of Luke, who is also Celtic. So there's a slight Celtic bias to the group.
Yes.
Big theme going on here in one way or another, yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, To recap, you were all called in to the office of the head of the BCIS, a man who goes by the codename of Joker. He is the head of operations, and he explained to you that they had been called in by the Dean of Natural Sciences at Cambridge University to explain that an artifact that they were studying had gone missing, and it needed to be recovered without its loss becoming public, to avoid a diplomatic incident with the Greek government. You requisitioned tools and headed up
involved in.
and headed up to the university city. After an evening finding lodgings and a brief reconnoiter, you met the Dean of Natural Sciences, one Professor Page, who directed you to the person leading the investigation, a man by the name of Professor Derek J. de Sola Price, visiting from Yale. On visiting Professor Price, you learnt that by secret arrangement with the Greek government, the ancient artifact known as the Antikythera mechanism had been brought to Cambridge for further study, following a research that he had originally done in Athens a couple of years previously. And this was as a result of new scanning technology that had been recently purchased and developed and installed at Cambridge. On discussing things with Professor Price, you learnt about the other members of the research team, all graduates, acquired their names, and decided to divide your resources to be able to go and interview them and to check out the crime scene. Alex and Regan decided that they would visit the laboratory that was being used, and Owen and Seth decided that they would go and talk to the students. When last we left our team, Alex and Regan had just managed to gain entry to the lab, at which point Regan discovered, or became aware, that a large amount of divine magic had been used in the vicinity.
With Alex, Alex being as perceptive as a half-brick. As you going, the whole area was glowing with divine magic, and I'm just there going, there's nobody here.
This is before you have even stepped foot into the room.
No, I need to kick the door open.
You had the key. You didn't need to kick the door in.
I know. That's probably why I didn't notice anything. I'm just disgruntled. I haven't had to kick a door yet.
So, where do we go from here?
Off you go, Regan.
I walk in.
Okay.
I've just seen what Fish put in the chat.
Yes, we are playing a Mad Libs campaign.
Fair enough. Okay, right, so we're heading into the laboratory then, since I have no indication from Regan that anything is untoward here, because no bug has told me.
Oh, right, I didn't say anything.
I think some sort of boom.
Hey, Alex, I don't think it was any of the people that were working on it. There's a serious level of divine magic that got used here recently.
Oh, well, there's lovely. Right. Okay. Yeah, you might get some Welsh phrases in, but you're not getting any Welsh accent of me, not without a run-up. I'm just looking at the description I have of Professor Page, by the way, the chap we were initially talking to. Balding, harried, rubbish suit.
Yes. Pretty typical for astrophysicists of that era who had been shoved into a administrative role when all they wanted to do would be behind a telescope.
I summarised all of that much more simply with the word astrophysicist.
Yeah, true.
I said all of that.
Right. Okay. I am okay. Then going on my guard. I take it as nothing happening now, and that's directed
No,
at Rick.
I think
Regan.
The
I
room
think it's
is
residual.
devoid of all persons. It is. Did you want a description of the room again?
Yeah, if you could.
Sure. So you're in a pretty typical kind of working lab. There is benches around two edges of the room. Actually, no, three edges of the room. The wall closest to the door, it doesn't have a bench, but there are cabinets lining all four walls. Various bits of equipment sit on the benches. There is an island in the middle of the room which has a large, bulky piece of equipment that you assume is the scanner on it. In the far corner, there is a large filing cabinet, 3-drawer filing cabinet, and underneath the bench at that end of the room is a safe, a large metal safe, which you can see the door is slightly ajar to.
Now,
Basically, as described by Professor Price.
yeah. And if I recall correctly, if I'm reading my notes right, basically Price went home ill over the weekend after putting the device into the safe. And then when he came back in to check on it, the safe was ajar and the device was missing.
Not quite.
Price that put the thing in the safe. It was one of his assistants.
It was, wasn't it? Because he actually had to go home sick. So
Yeah.
Well, he didn't have to go home sick. I'll just recap that bit for you. So on the Friday,
yeah,
so today is Thursday. The previous Friday, he left the lab early to visit friends. He had left 2 of his research students in the lab.
that was it.
He returned on Sunday. Said he woke up on Monday feeling ill, with a stomach bug. Rang one of the students to tell them, or contacted one of the students to let them know that he wouldn't be in Monday or Tuesday, but that they should carry on with their assigned tasks. He turned up on Wednesday to find the door locked, but when he entered the room, the safe was open and there was no sign of the artifact fragments.
Okay. And it's been missing for 3 days.
It's unknown as to
Apparently.
whether...
Okay.
Because I think the students actually showed up on Monday to continue their work, and there was something there too.
Right.
I
Okay.
think that
Well, the students showed up on Wednesday, after he arrived at the lab, and he then sent them back after questioning them.
Okay. So yes, you lot have the students to do. Right, let's look for clues. Just in case there's been a murder.
Okay, let me just grab a few things. Okay, so the system we are using doesn't have a straightforward investigation or perception skill. So what I would like you to tell me is what you are doing to try and find out clues.
Okay, I'm going straight to the safe because that's somewhere we know something untoward happened.
Sure.
And I habitually wear leather gloves, as established, I think, last session. So I'm not worried too much about fingerprints, but I want to have a look and see if there was any damage to the safe, if the lock looks like it's been tampered with, either mechanically or otherwise. You know, dirty great hole drilled in the bottom or something.
Sure. Okay, and Regan, what are you going to do whilst Alex looks at the safe?
So I was thinking that I'd try and focus on the residual divine power and try to look for signs of what it might be or who, what deity it's tied to.
Okay. How do you intend to do that?
That's the thing. I'm not sure how someone would do this.
Well, okay. Describe what it is that you want to do. So in this system, it's a kind of back and forth. You either ask me for the kind of roles that you want to do, or you describe the kind of actions that you're going to do, and then I will tell you whether or not it's a role or what you will need to do to.
I was thinking occult and intellect or cunning.
Right. So you're just trying to basically read the room and get more information, are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Presumably, having sensed something, you're focusing on that sense
Yeah.
and just trying to get as much out of it as you can.
Sure.
As far as my investigation goes, I'm wondering if I can get away with using technology as a skill, since I'm looking at the actual mechanics of the locking mechanism on the safe.
That sounds good to me.
Okay.
Okay. We will start with. Let's see, which way round shall I do this? We will start with Regan, since that will probably affect other folks.
When the room blows up.
Okay, Regan, describe how you are going to go about doing this.
I'm going to go closer to the center of the room where the island is and close my eyes, spread my hands out, and try to pick up threads that might lead back to where they came from. Focus on that source of power.
Okay. Right. Can you give me a intellect? Actually, you try and concentrate on this. Can you give me a resolve plus occult roll then, please?
Okay. Ooh, 6 successes.
6 successes. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So for those watching at home, we are using a D10 system, similar to most other White Wolf properties, which this is a game based on. You will roll a pool. I will ask for an attribute plus ability pool. You will add up your numbers in each of those, roll a number of D10 equal to that, add any bonuses, and roll the lot. If you get a 7 or higher, that is a success. If you get a 10, that is 2 successes. So you get 6.
Yep. I rolled a 10, a 9, an 8, an 8, and a 7 using the Exalted Web tools.
Nice. So you tune in to the divine energies, and you kind of feel them wash over you. Obviously, a lot of this is attuned through your patron. Your patron is Osiris, who specializes in like the dead and the afterlife, but also is a god of wisdom. And obviously, being of the Egyptian pantheon, lots of river symbolism. So it's almost like a golden light washing over you, and you're standing in the middle of the stream. As you get a sense of the current of the room, you're pretty certain that whoever utilized power in here was an adherent or was a scion of the Greek pantheon. 6 successes. What else would we get with that?
Phone number.
It is definitely not magic that you are directly familiar with. Like it's not necessarily something that that you have any awareness with, except you get the feeling that the magic used has something to do with like almost decay. You're familiar with Osiris being a god of the afterlife, and there is a sense of either decay or degradation about some of the magic that has been used here. You also realize that the magic hasn't entirely dissipated.
Okay, now I'm
Something-
worried.
Something has been left here. And you hear in your heads, both you and Alex,
Uh-huh.
hear in your inner ear, a tick, tick, tick.
I'm a 10-second
Alex,
bomb.
let's go. We
And-
need to go now.
Shit.
Now, because you have done this, you have given yourself and Alex an awareness of what has been left behind. Can you both give me a stamina or resolve
Uh-huh.
plus occult roll, please?
Ooh, hell yes. Oh, yes. No. God. I got so... Yeah, the stamina. Yes, let's go for... Oh, God. Just see my occult. I don't have...
Oh, it's a cult? Ha, cool.
What is occult?
Yeah,
in
stamina
my-
stamina or resolve plus occult.
So stamina,
Only 3
then.
successes that time.
Correct... Sorry.
Sorry, Regan, what was that?
I just said, so only 3 successes this time.
3. Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong. If you have a speciality, you get 1 success by default, yeah?
Yes, that is correct.
Excellent stuff.
No, sorry. Let me just double check.
'Cause I
It's
thought
the
that was...
epic level?
Yeah.
Sorry, if you have the epic
Yeah,
attribute.
yeah. Sorry, that's what I
that's
mean.
1 automatic success. Yes,
Okay. And I'm aiming for what, 6s or 7s?
you're aiming for 7s and higher.
Okie day. Don't fail me now, dudes. Okay, I'll take that. 8, 8, 8, 7. So that's a
8.
total of 5 because I have
5.
epic in stamina.
Excellent. Okay. Both of you feel the best way to describe it is probably an expansion of pressure in the room.
I was in the forces. This is never a good sign, whether it's natural or supernatural.
There is nothing visible. There is nothing that you can see happening in the room, but you almost feel a bow wave of pressure, like slam into your bodies. But you both managed to weather this. Obviously, Alex to a better degree than Regan. But whatever it is has just washed over you.
Oh, fantastic. What the hell was that?
I would say it was
Nothing
a
is
booby
amiss.
trap.
Nothing has moved.
Yeah, that was a lot of effort to go to for nothing.
You okay?
Well, I'm okay, but yeah, I think I just looked like a spaniel in the breeze. Hair just went straight back. Spaniel with the head out the window. Now I know what her hair looks like. Excellent. Right. Yeah, that seems like a lot of effort for a bomb that did nothing.
It was something put there for someone like us to show up. So they were probably expecting us.
Yeah, well, that makes me feel comfortable. I wonder, could it have been an alarm we just triggered? Would that shockwave have been felt across, a wide enough area? Or has something gone pear-shaped and we should expect something with way too many teeth and legs appearing?
I don't know. For sure.
Regan, I mean, you got 6 successes on your previous thing. It felt like it was a booby trap. Like it was a magical booby trap that had been left. You don't think it's an alarm? You just think that it's something that had been left for...
Investigators.
Yeah, for someone entering this room.
Has it trashed any other traces?
That's a good question.
Can you give me intellect plus... actually, can you give me a cunning plus occult roll at this point, please?
I'm disappointed with you, by the way. You really should have coordinated better, and one of you should have failed that, so we'd have more information.
Well, that's just it.
That way we'd know what happened to the people that it actually hit rather than powered through it.
There's labs either side. People have been smeared.
I have 1 epic level in cunning, but I botched the roll, so
So that's a 1. I am not using a botch system.
Thank you.
okay.
So you have 1. So that gives you 1 success then. You can't make anything else out. Whatever went off has basically swamped the divine energy in here, and you can't read anything more.
There's nothing else here. It's gone. But
Great.
I do know that whatever power was being used here, it feels like it came from the Greek pantheon. I'm not entirely sure which, because it's not really tied to any of my areas of expertise. But some form of decay or degradation. There was a feeling of that.
Okay,
I don't know if
well,
that's familiar to you.
Greek makes sense. Although
Yeah.
it was going back to the embassy. So, it's not exactly held in seclusion. I'm
Yes.
turning my attention back to the safe.
Sure.
Yeah. I am turning my attention back to the safe.
Okay.
And looking at the lock for anything along the lines of rust or any kind of mechanical damage that would have been caused by time.
Sure. Can you give me a dexterity or cunning plus technology then, please?
I can gosh darn do it on cunning because I have epic in that. And technology, oh my god, I get dice and everything. Wow.
Do you have enough dice for this roll?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've only got about 60 in the box I've brought in with me.
Fair.
I wish I was kidding. The other 3 boxes are in the other room. Okay. So I am on. That's a failure. That's a failure. That's a failure. Those 4 are successes, so that's 5 successes, including my epic.
Okay. Yeah, with that, it doesn't take you long to figure out that whilst the safe itself is pretty intact, the lock has definitely been tampered with, and looks like it's been corroded. Like the metal around the area of the lock on the inside has been corroded, damaged. It looks older than the rest of the things, and yeah. So your initial suggestion that perhaps something temporal has happened to it may not be too far from the mark.
Okay, we're probably all about 5 years older now, because the inside of that lock is older than the safe.
Does Regan have wings now?
Ooh, you bloody gelfling. Okay. Right. Yeah. Time has been twisted to age that lock. So it didn't need to be unlocked. You just pull it.
Okay. Well, then we're looking for Greek deity that is related to time, potentially.
Great. Really not my field of expertise at all.
Oh, I'm good at research.
Glad
I wonder how the others doing.
Jump to a scene.
That sounds vaguely something.
And the wipe happens.
Is there before we do so,
No.
is there
Okay.
anything else that you want to do in the lab?
There's no windows here, are there? The only
No.
way in and out was the front door.
Correct.
I know we unlocked it, but I'm going to have a look at the lock on the door as well, because I want to know whether they came in with the key or whether they pulled the similar trick and we've just completely unnecessarily unlocked it.
You take a look at the lock on the door and it is completely fine.
They had the key.
Like, it doesn't look like there has been any tampering whatsoever.
Yeah. Okay, so not picked. That was that they got hold of the key, but we've established the key was not held particularly securely.
We also established that the the student did actually put the artifact in the safe. Otherwise, they wouldn't have needed to break the safe open.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. I want to have a look at the scanner just quickly.
Okay.
Just in case, I want to know if I'm looking for any kind of residue, any notes made near it, record of last settings.
There is nothing on the workbench next to it,
Okay.
apart from the bits and pieces that are needed to operate it. So you've got like a few tools, some oil, some like the casings that would be used to put the fragments in for scanning.
Okay.
All of that is like neatly assessed. If you want to look more detailed, if you want to look at the scanner in more detail, could you give me an intellect or cunning plus technology?
I can indeedy. See, I can do things. I just can't do magic. 10s count double, yeah?
Correct.
Yep.
Excellent stuff. So that's 2, 8, so that's 4, 5, 6.
6.
Yep.
Despite the fact that it being technology that you are not familiar with, this is you quickly discern that this is a material scanner. You also quite quickly discern that it has been tampered with.
Okay.
Somebody has, whilst not literally throwing a spanner in the works, has done something to render this not immediately functional.
Have they now? We don't know if this thing has been fingerprinted or anything, do we?
No, you don't.
Okay.
You would suspect not, because you are the first investigator.
We're
Because
the
as far as
first
you have
ones
been
in.
told, you are the first investigators in.
Yeah. I seem to recall we had some investigative kits.
We
You
do.
Yeah.
We have break and enter kit. We've got Polaroid cameras. We've got
Yeah.
a microcam, tape decks on straps, a shotgun mic, some 5 cassettes, and walkie-talkies.
Yeah,
You
I was
will
just
know-
writing down that.
Like, you will know basic forensics as well.
Just
Whilst you may not necessarily be able to do it yourself,
Yeah.
you may either have to send off for a lab or see if somebody here has forensics knowledge.
Right. Okay. I'm going to carefully examine, while touching as little as possible, any flat surfaces. And see if I can, by working off the light, see if I can see any traces of prints. I won't be able to see the fingerprints per se, but I'll be able to see smudges on anything smooth and shiny.
Yeah, you can definitely. It doesn't take much to know that yes, this is definitely an item that has been handled.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, somebody has definitely done a number on this. It's not overtly broken, but it's not going to work properly. Possibly to delay their studies. Make sure it stayed in the lab long enough to be stolen. Possibly. This is out loud to Regan.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know whether or not the scanner maintains images? If it was tampered with, would it have tampered with whatever images were already taken?
I'm sorry? Okay, who summoned the Hounds of Hell?
No, that's actually the villain on their getaway vehicle.
Yeah, it's leaving now. Yeah.
You've been rumbled.
Yes.
This one to get it started.
Yes, they watched the magical mushroom cloud come out the side of the building. Ow, sorry. And are now having it away on their BSA. Right.
We pointed out that that's a magical mushroom cloud, as distinct from a cloud of magic mushrooms, which is a different thing.
Just a bit. Well, up for the mystery tour. Okay. So, I take it this doesn't record images directly into the machine. We're talking photographic plates or something.
It
Or
operates.
paper output.
Yeah, it is paper output. You can see like the arms and needles for the various like readings that it would take.
Are there any? So you said there was the cabinet, the file cabinet in the corner.
Correct.
Is it locked?
It is locked.
Should we try and
You're
unlock
gonna
it?
break something open.
Can I get to use the B&E kit?
Like to lock.
Sorry, Knight, what was that? I was talking over you.
C boot, apply to lock.
Yes. Tempting.
So who is going to have a go at attempting to open the?
Are we
The filing
talking
cabinet.
dexterity and technology by any chance?
This would actually be subterfuge. Well,
bollocks.
obviously it depends on the way you are doing it, but generally speaking, like stealth and such is under subterfuge.
Yeah, I was hoping
What
it
would
wasn't.
the attribute be?
Sorry,
What would the attribute be associated
depends on how you're doing it.
with it? I'm using the break and entering kit using lockpicks. So
Sure. So for you,
Dexterity?
that would be dexterity plus subterfuge, and you would be able to use your speciality of bypassing security if you so wished.
wait. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I didn't know I had such a speciality.
Yes, all of you have 3 specialities. Attempting to do a roll, attempting to do something that involves that speciality gives you a bonus dice in your pool.
Reading my
What's that
specialities. Oh well, I'll be kicking doors in a lot then.
Your speciality is size 9?
Well, it's more delicately put as defending the team.
Yeah. But yeah, order of the size 9s. Yeah.
I also have a specialty
Specialty
in
getting
archaeology,
go.
so if we do find any evidence of this, I should probably use that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Go for
that's
it.
going to be 7. So that's 2 successes plus the 1 epic, so 3 successes.
Okay, it's not a very difficult lock to pick. You manage to open the cabinet, and yeah, all 3 drawers are now available for you to look at. What you find inside is a mix of research papers primarily. There are various. One of them seems to be the output. Sorry, like the recordings from the machine. One is past papers on looking at either this mechanism or studies in the field. And the bottom drawer seems to be more widespread, like anthropological papers and notes. And it seems like each of the students has their own folder in the bottom drawer.
Okay. Nothing that looks like a printout from the actual scanner.
Yeah, there you do see some. Well, you've got some of the data. It looks like is there. There is a folder labeled imaging, which is empty. There is a folder labeled readouts, which has some papers, and it's basically like your long your long printouts with the up and down lines for the various, like, either you're not quite sure whether it's spectrometry or interferometry or whatever it is that they are looking at with this scanner. There's also like a manual in one of the back folders on the top as well for how to use this.
Hey, Alex, if you read this, you might be able to see how it was tampered with.
That's not a bad idea.
It's probably about this thick.
Yeah. Switch on. Do not operate in the bath. Oh no, that's the standard. No, I was just looking down my specialities while you're rifling through the filing cabinets, doing the useful
Yeah.
thing. I am going to return to my theory of see if I can get any prints off this thing. And I am going to use a pocket knife and as many pencils as it takes to shave graphite off. to use as fingerprint powder to get an idea of any images, because I have improvising equipment as a speciality.
Nice.
Well done.
So
You
yes,
are a member of the A team.
Do that on the safe as well.
Yes,
Uh,
yeah. Actually, it's not a bad idea.
okay. I'll give you one roll to cover both then. Can you give me a dexterity plus? What would this come under?
I'm trying not to say technology again, but on the other hand, I think it might be technology again.
Yeah, it would be subterfuge or technology. So yeah, give me dexterity plus one of those two, and you get your bonus die for improvising equipment.
It'll be dexterity plus technology, thanks, because I have no subterfuge.
Sure.
No guile.
I know, no, I'm a very upfront sort of
He
person.
just kicks things.
Yes. This is why she got the gig. She kept pitching up at people's doors. Okay, so I get an extra die for my speciality. I've got one default success already. No, I haven't, because I haven't got the epic dex. That's a poo. Right. Sorry, did you say cunning or dex?
Dex.
Dex, yeah, my brain just melted on me, sorry. So I'm
It
rolling...
is a physical thing that you're
Yeah.
trying to finesse.
It is, yes. Whoa. Okay, so no, yes, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 successes. I take that.
Cool.
Thank you, bonus
Yes,
die.
you managed to basically lift off what you think are 3 sets of prints from the scanner.
Mm-hmm.
Applying the same technique to the safe.
Mm-hmm.
Things are too smudged, but obviously there are a number of fingerprints like around the handle and such.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of smudging, as if it is something that has been very well used and used often.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm going to leave you two there, and we are going to jump to Owen and Seth, who are on the trail of the graduate students assisting Professor Price. So,
Are my notes remiss, or did we not get their names last time?
you did get their names.
We
Do you
did
have
get
them
their
in your
names.
notes?
I don't.
Nor do I.
Okay, so
Trying to
Your
work out
th-
whether I actually had a notepad or a physical notepad somewhere. So I might have
I want to say Nicholas.
is one of them. So you have 3 names. You have Dr. Trevor Archwood, who is at King's. You have Maya Sanderson, who is at Gonville and Keys. And you have Nicholas Ford Richardson, who is at Girton. And given your starting locations, Girton is the furthest one out. So yeah, in terms of your starting location at the BNB, Kings is closer than Gonville and Keys, which is closer than Girton, which is basically outside of Cambridge or outside of the city centre.
Okay.
Kings and Gonville are pretty close to each other.
So which one do you want to do first then, Owen? Do we start at the end and work our way back in, or start nearby and work out?
If I remember correctly, our original intention was to start with whoever was supposed to have actually put the thing away.
That was the intent.
That would have been Nicholas then. He is the one who Dr. Price told him he put the thing in the safe and returned the key to security. Or to reception, rather.
So, yes, I think my preference would be to speak to Nicholas.
Then let's head off to Nicholas. Do buckle
Okay.
up. We won't be hanging around.
You are taking your car over there.
I will
Cool.
be driving, yes.
Sure. You head out to Girton through the scenic back roads of West Cambridge, and yeah, it's like you reckon that on foot you're a good half an hour's walk from the city centre when you pull up at the college.
So by car, it's significantly less than that, presumably.
Yes. Like it's probably only, I mean, obviously you don't know this area, so it's probably taken you about 15 minutes to drive there once you've got the hang of the one-way routes, the one-way roads around the city.
One-way system blues.
Probably means that where's that? Oh shit! This is a one-way street. Turn. Poor Owen's like, okay. Up against the window, Automan style.
So you arrive outside the college that looks almost like any of the others. I can't remember exactly when Girton was built, but yeah, you pull up outside of the college, and there is the obvious door into the Porter's Lodge, and the rest of the college laid out behind that.
Well, the Porter's Lodge would seem to be our reasonable first port of call, I suppose.
Okay. Entering the Porter's Lodge, you come across a room which is, I mean, generally the same from college to college. It is a reasonably sized room with a desk running the length of one wall, behind which bowler-hatted gentlemen stand, and another wall covered by pigeonholes, and a door which leads to a telephone just off the main room.
Any sign of anyone there?
Yes, the most colleges, their Porter's Lodge are manned at all hours.
Oh, brilliant!
So, yep.
Having never been to an old school college, I have no idea.
At this point in the morning, yep, there is one person behind the desk, basically just scribbling. It looks like they're making a log of some recent mail.
Good morning. I wonder if you can help. I'm here on business of Professor Page. I'm looking to talk with Nicholas Ford Richardson, please.
Master Ford Richardson. He gives you a look. You are welcome to leave a note in his pigeonhole.
Is he not around? Have you seen him? This is very important. As I say, we're on business of Professor Victor Page. He's back in his office if you want to phone him to verify my statement.
Look, let me try and clear this up, okay? I'm Dr. Fitzhendrick, and I need to speak to young Master Ford Richardson in a hurry on an important matter. So if you could just see your way clear to pointing us in the right direction or sending someone to find him or something, and then we can just all get on with our work.
He looks stern and generally implacable, as most college porters do. Can you give me a presence or manipulation plus persuasion check, please?
I certainly can. I would far rather give a manipulation, but to be honest, that sounded more like presence to me, so I will roll that one instead.
Is there a steamroller speciality?
Fortunately, while my manipulation is better, I have epic presence. Which gives me a total of 3 successes.
Okay. You do seem to have impressed upon him the urgency of the situation.
I've got a tweed jacket and everything.
He steps, if you give me one moment, he steps to one side, picks up a telephone, rotary dial of course, spends a few moments dialing up, lifts the handset to his ear. Yes, there are a pair of gentlemen here to see you. They say they are from Professor Price. Very well. Would you like to meet them here, or shall I send them up? Very well. Puts the phone down. Young Master Ford Richardson is in. You can find him in his rooms, and he gives you directions to find him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You speak academic. You're useful.
Indeed.
Right, we will follow said directions.
Yes.
You do. Girton is one of the smaller colleges, although being outside of the city, it has more expansive grounds. You pass through a couple of quadrangles and head to a newer building hidden by the older ones, and into it, and you arrive outside door. A label on the next to the a label on the door says N. Ford Richardson.
I'll knock on the door.
And this is Ford with a double F, by the way.
Should have known, of course it would be, yeah.
Yes, it's Ford Richardson. The door opens, and a young, neatly attired young man seems to eschew the usual t-shirt and jeans that you have seen of many of the students around here. He is actually wearing a button-down and slacks. Opens the door and says, "Yes, I'm Nicholas."
Good
Hello.
morning. Sorry to bother you so early, but we're here at the behest of Professor Price. May we come in and talk about things?
Oh, I guess it's about the
Yes.
project.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. He opens the door, and he shows you in. It looks like he's got, as a grad student, he's basically got a two-room set, like lounge and study, and then what you assume that there is a bedroom through the door off. He bids you sit, offers you tea or coffee, should you so wish.
I'll take a tea, thank you.
Same, please.
Wanders over to a table where you can see like a little mini fridge set under it, like just one of those, and a plastic kettle on top. And as he's doing so, I guess you're the investigators.
Some of, yes.
How can I help you?
Well, I think first off,
We'd just like to hear what you can remember in your own words.
as the professor
sure.
here says, tell us what happened.
Sure. So Prof Price left the lab on Friday afternoon. I think he was heading to Edinburgh or something like that. At that point, it was only a minute. Yeah, it was only me and Maya who were still there. We finished up our work around the same time.
And that time was?
Let me think. 7? Yeah, about 7ish. 7 p.m. I put the fragments back in their case after I'd finished, because I was looking at a couple of them. I put them back in their case, put the case in the safe, and closed it, spun the handle, and checked that it was locked. And then, by the time I'd done that, Maya had left, and so I left, tidied up my papers, put them back in the cabinet, left, locked the door, and left the key with the reception like we always did.
Who in reception took the key?
I don't know their name. He gives you a description now.
Okay.
Can I make a roll to see whether I believe him? Using my detecting lies speciality.
Sure. Give me a manipulation or composure plus empathy roll, please.
It's definitely going to be manipulation. Okay, that could have been worse. Could have
I'm
been
going to be
better.
dead by the ad break.
I'm quite
Sorry, I've
glad
got
you're not
mid-
using a botch system.
No, we are not.
So that's
Just as
5
well with a fishy
successes.
plane.
Yes, I rolled 2 1s in amongst that lot.
Ooh. So how many was that? Sorry, I didn't hear.
5 in total.
5.
Because I also rolled 2 10s.
Handy.
So you get what you reckon is a pretty good read on this young man. Now, he's not lying. Nothing he has told you has been lying. This is what he did. He is nervous,
But that's understandable.
but you do also get the sense that he is nervous not just about this.
What's he been up to? Or who?
I would just say who. Did you notice anyone else in the area that seemed out of place?
No. Maya had left before me. I gave the key to the reception, and then I left by myself and headed. Came back here for dinner.
And nothing seemed out of place at any point along that journey from putting the bits in the safe to getting home. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. No cars that suddenly turned in as you were leaving. No people you didn't expect to see in the vicinity. Take some time, close your eyes, think back, and picture yourself going through that journey. See if anything sticks out as being different or just even out of place.
Are either of you any good at hypnosis?
I don't think so. Obviously I wasn't paying a lot of attention to my surroundings, short of being able to get back here
Of course.
for dinner. No, sorry. I don't think I can add anything else to. I don't think I can add anything of relevance to that. Yeah.
Very well.
And then as far as you're concerned, the story continues when?
So locked up on Friday. Got a message from Trevor left in my pigeonhole on Monday morning when I came down to say that Dr. Price, Professor Price was ill, and that we should just continue on with our work.
And
Wow.
That work would have started when?
Okay, I'm supposed to be in the lab by 11, but I didn't go in on Monday.
Okay, did you go in on Tuesday?
No, I wasn't supposed to be in on Tuesday. So it wasn't until Wednesday. It wasn't until Wednesday that I got there, by which point Prof. Price was already there and had found the things missing.
So you can't actually say whether they were there on Monday.
No, I'm sorry.
Why didn't you
can't.
go in on Monday?
Well, Prof Price not there. It's like I would have been the only one in the lab. Like neither of the other two were due in that day. They've got enough things that they can be done outside of the lab. I'm the one who
Thought bubble above Owen's head. Well, you were never a student. Opportunity to skip, and you didn't. I don't understand that he took it.
Like, if I get a chance for a day off, like the prof's a nice guy and all, but you know he's under a deadline.
And taking a day off helps that deadline, of course.
I'm the one who runs the scanner. I'm the one who knows how that works. I'm a material scientist. That's why I was brought in to this project. The other two don't specialize in materials.
What do they specialize in?
Well, Trevor's a historian more than anything. What's he doing? His speciality, his PhD was in historical astronomy, if I remember rightly, and Maya's an anthropologist. Well, she's doing Arcanant, but she's more ant than arc.
Am I the only one who wants an expansion on that?
Yes, here we go with Cambridge slang. Arcanant is archaeology and anthropology.
So she's an archaeoanthropologist.
Yeah.
There is
there is a department of archaeology and anthropology. It is a tripos subject at Cambridge.
Yep.
I feel slightly weird now that I knew exactly what he was talking about.
Yeah. I pretty much did, but I also realised that there are people in chat who maybe don't. Particularly those with far more sensible academic institutions than us.
Well,
Well, yeah.
I say I am drawing on personal knowledge here.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. No,
but yeah,
but Oxbridge is odd. Oxbridge is still odd.
very odd. Yes. Which
my
makes an
knowledge
excellent
is a bit-
setting.
My knowledge is very sketchy because the Jennings books never went as far as I'm going to university.
Yeah.
I'm more Campion, to be honest.
Indeed. So, yeah, he tells you what they are on the project for.
Why, if I may ask, why an anthropologist?
I think I don't know fully what she's working on, but as far as I know, she's got a speciality in cultures of the Mediterranean. So she's doing a lot more of the literature-based work around this. And he says this with a hint, well, more than a hint, of disparagingness in his voice. Social science.
Oh, of course.
Uh-huh.
I'll put that in inverted commas in my notes.
Doesn't like the soft sciences, does he?
He's the material science scientist.
Of sciences, yeah.
I mean,
Well, unless we're talking about Alcon
our
Gypsum.
material scientist.
Yep.
If you don't mind my asking a personal question, how's it all going for you?
He looks like the change in tack looks to have caught him a bit off guard. Fine. I mean, Professor Price is a hard worker, but I mean, he knows his stuff. I don't know.
Problems?
No. We get on fine.
Anyone doesn't get on fine with Professor Price?
Not really. Like, we're not the most social of teams. Like, I don't really see the others outside of the lab, and you know, everyone has their own lives. And Professor Price isn't really known for socialising much anyway. Head in the paper always.
So,
But no,
what do you
apart
do
from
with
that,
your time when you're not in the lab? What did you do on Monday?
I went to the Botanical Gardens. Haven't been there in a while. A nice place.
Go on your own?
Yeah.
He's interrogating
place
this
for a
poor
stroll.
bastard.
Do you have an interest
So-
in botany, or do you just appreciate the beauty and the artistic nature of it?
It's a beautiful place. Plus, on a Monday, it's not very crowded. So, it's a nice place for a wander.
So you had a day to yourself because your boss wasn't in. So you decided you'd just take a stroll.
For the most part, yeah. Then came back, did some work here. Like, I've got other projects that I'm working on. I know, like, his is the priority, but I have my own research too.
So, what does your own research cover? I'm quite curious.
How can I put it? I am studying the composition of metals used in aeronautics. I think that's probably the easiest way for me to describe it to you guys.
Did he just call you guys stupid?
Yeah.
So this whole cultural archaeological thing, that's very much not your priority at all.
No, as I say, the main reason that I'm on this project at all is because I help work on the technology that developed
Just a
the
gig
scanner.
you've got because you can work the machine.
Yeah, like, it's something I worked on. It's something I helped develop.
Do you have any interest in the project at all, aside from the use of the machine?
Not really. Archaeology is not my speciality. Archaeology doesn't interest me.
So really, your only interest in this is just to prove what the machine can do.
Pretty much. I'm a glorified lab tech here.
Yeah. So I can understand why your own projects would be of more interest to you, because this is just
It's
a paid gig, whereas your own stuff is your own stuff.
yeah, it's a side project.
Okay.
Does the amount of pressure that the professor puts on you detract from your own projects at all?
Only insofar as the time, but I was told that this project's going to be over fairly soon.
So there's no animosity on your part for a reluctance to do it?
No, why should there be?
Just curious. Yeah, you've just said that archaeology is not your thing. You're more into metals and aeronautics.
I'm being paid.
Student
One point well
money.
made.
I'm a student.
Need
My
cash.
My parents give me some stuff, but it doesn't hurt to have more.
I love that they've
Unless my
fixated on this guy
colleague
being dodgy.
Unless my colleague here has more questions for you. I think I've only got one more, which is who do you think took it?
I honestly don't know. I don't think it was any one of us. I don't think it was any one of us.
Oh, yeah, no, there is one other question, actually.
You
Just one more
Columbo.
If this thing was supposed to be a secret, and if it wasn't one of you, then somebody knew about it. You haven't been talking, have you?
No, we were told we had to keep this secret.
Right. Unless you've got anything, Seth?
Not at the moment. Nothing certainly comes to mind.
Well, thank you for your time.
I never ever want to be interviewed for a job by night. He's terrifying. There's a misprint on one of your qualifications. You really have.
I've been to CVs for that.
Yeah. Ooh. No, that's understandable.
So, he shows you out, and I guess you head back to the car, unless there's anything else that you want to do here.
So what do you...
After you guys,
Having been inside his apartment, is there any signs that he's either particularly more affluent than a student would be, or on the flip side, any less affluent than you might expect for a student?
Give me a composure plus culture or empathy check, please.
Okay. It's 7 I need for a success?
7 and higher, yeah.
2 successes.
2 successes. Did you go to university? Or rather,
Given that I
did
studied
Seth?
medicine, yes.
Yes. And what sort of background are you from?
It's going to be a science background, medicine, but on the medicine side, the biology
No,
side.
I mean, affluence-wise, like
Oh.
class-wise, where is
Middle class.
Seth from? Okay. Scanning the room and kind of comparing it to your own upbringing, you reckon that he is upper middle class or lower upper class?
Okay.
His rooms were well kept, as if this is somebody who has had a relatively... It wasn't like your typical student room in terms of, messiness or anything like that. It was well kept. Somebody who seems to have a certain degree of discipline about him.
Okay. Thank you. That's yeah. That factors in.
Mhm.
I've got nothing more pressing to ask, so thank you very
Sure.
much for your time.
Okay. He shows you out. He's polite. And
If anything does cross your mind that you suddenly remember about the garden, please give us a call.
sure.
The messaging service, won't it?
Yeah.
Have to periodically call
presumably.
in.
I mean, that is also one of the things that you did note. Like, he is a grad student who has a telephone in his room.
Okay.
it's kind of unfortunate that neither of you know that there's divine magic involved.
No, I'm
I know, right?
deliberately not asking questions based on what you two have already
Yeah,
found out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hence keeping the speculation on your conversation
Yeah.
into chat rather than
Mhm.
actually saying it, despite a couple of them being, I'm not there, I can't ask.
So, before we go back to the others then, I'll do one more if you want to go and talk to one of the others.
Okay, I think Maya was the next one out. if
I
we're
mean,
gonna-
yeah, my only priority was I wanted to speak to Nicholas first, so whoever is closest now, yeah.
Given that neither of the others were in on Monday and Maya was there on the Friday.
Actually, I suppose that Trevor was the one who let people know that Price was ill, so
That's true.
he's the one with the doctor in front of his name.
Mm.
So maybe the next most senior and possibly who we should speak to.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Let's go and talk to Trevor. Dr. Trevor Archwood.
Okay, so where are you heading?
That takes us to King's.
Okay. So you drive back. Takes a bit of time to find a parking space anywhere near King's.
It doesn't surprise me in the least.
Nah. And you make your way through to Trinity Street and the front door, the front of a very imposing college. I mean, if anyone has seen the broadcast every Christmas of carols from King's Chapel.
Mm.
This is the King's College of that King's Chapel. So you've got an impressive kind of like white grey marble, it's limestone really, building with an impressive chapel that dominates one end of the college. The porters here the doors are larger, the porters are more imposing than at Girton.
And you seem to speak the required subset of the language to get us through the doors. Would you like to do the same again?
Going to suggest that we skip that first part this time round, yes.
So you head into the Porter's Lodge?
Indeed.
Okay. Again, there are more people. This is a busier room. There are students coming in and out, checking pigeonholes. There are 3 bowler-hatted porters behind the
That's what I need a bowler.
behind the desk.
That's handy. I only need one of them. Good day, Dr. Hendrick, Dr. Fitzhendrick, even if I knew my own name. Archwood, with regards to Professor Price. If you could let him know I'm here.
One moment, please. He looks over to a wooden board that is attached to one of the walls, and it's got a whole list of names and in out with a wooden
out.
yeah. Where are my notes?
You know what happens to the notes?
I'm sorry, sir. Dr. Archwood is not currently in his room, so.
Oh, bother! I've been given bad information. I suppose you have no idea where he'd be.
Let me check the book. Dr. Archwood has an office in HPS, and then he gives you the acronym and then shakes his head. The Department of History and Philosophy of Science, and he tells you where that is.
Okay.
It was Seth who went out with Alex last night, wasn't it?
Yes.
To the pub, yeah. The address that he gives you for the department is round the corner from the Eagle.
Okay. I've got a vague idea where that is, Dr. Fitzhendrick.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Would you care to leave a note, just in case?
You know what? I think I would.
He passes over a notepad and pen.
Right. Let's see. What am I going to write? urgently need to speak to you on not the matter of some importance. Dr. Fritz Hendrick, CGIS.
Get your qualification in there, dear.
Or BCIS even. I knew what I meant.
Sorry, Joe, I can't focus on thinking and not moving.
No, it's not you, it's Fish. He's suddenly literally... you I can cope with because you move slightly, or at least your headset cable does. Fish just literally went full-on police squad. And I was literally just scooching over to VC to make sure everything was still live.
No, actually, I dropped out ages ago. You're hallucinating.
Yeah, no.
I could believe that. Kronos,
Whole campaign was a dream.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wake up in the
Could
shower.
you remind me which department it was? I didn't quite catch it.
So it is the Department of the History and Philosophy of Science.
That's a bit of a mouthful.
It is.
Thank you.
I'm guessing you leave the note. He puts it in a pigeonhole behind the counter, where basically the academic staff have their mail put. And I guess you head to
Head off and try his office then, yeah.
sure.
Indeed.
Right. Okay. You head over to the HPS department, and it's not far from where you are, and you are shown into the buildings here look like converted terrace housing, basically, for want of a better description. The buildings are narrow and cramped. It's like each doorway seems to be either a different set of offices or a different department. And like the impression that you get from outside, at least, is that the rooms in here must be fairly cramped. Which is not a feeling you are dissuaded of as you enter the Department of HPS, and a narrow corridor takes you up to a first floor landing, where there is basically a hatch set into the wall of the landing with a receptionist behind it. Not to stereotype too much, but the word frumpy does come to mind.
Yeah, don't mess. It's the frumpy ones you got to watch out for.
She looks up from her typewriter as you approach the counter.
Good morning. I wondered if you could tell me if Dr. Archwood's in his office.
She stands up, comes over to the counter, pulls out a what looks to be some kind of logbook from underneath the reception counter. Runs her hand down a list of names, and yes, Dr. Archwood is in.
What, can I just go through, or?
Yes, up 2 flights of steps. There is a waiting room there. His is the second door.
Thank you.
Yep. So, you head up. You pass the door. You head up to the next floor. It looks like there is a door to what looks to be like a very tightly packed library on this floor. And then up one more, and basically there's a small waiting room with 3 doors coming off it.
Well, I know it's the second door because I've just
Yep.
been. So it doesn't matter.
Basically, like all the doors are named.
I had a feeling it probably would be.
And yes, you see a door for Dr. Trevor Archwood, and again another one of those in-out like sliders, which are very commonplace here, which shows that he is in apparently.
So, how are we going to do this? We're going to knock politely, or do you want to catch him by surprise? You're the expert.
This isn't my usual sort of investigation. Let's knock politely, given the terrain we're in.
Good thing Alex isn't there.
The door will be off its hinges by now.
I shall knock then, yes.
Okay.
What I will do, however, is I will knock, wait just a moment, and then open the door.
Okay. As you knock, there's a young male voice calls, "Enter."
Excellent. That means it wasn't rude when I opened the door.
Yeah, you enter a cramped office. Like bookshelves line 2 walls of this room, and they are stuffed with books of varying age. A narrow window at the far end, at the end of the room, lets in dirty grey light, supplemented by the lamps that are on, even though this is the middle of the day. And yeah, like a small desk covered in papers, and what looks to be something that looks like a BBC Micro perched on at one end of it, and a man that you would put in probably his mid-20s, tweed jacket, blue and white pinstripe shirt, stands up from behind the desk. Please come in. To what do I owe this pleasure?
I will get out my ID. I think I'm going to ID this one.
Ooh.
Dr. Fitzhendrick, BCIS.
Oh.
Hello, he knows what that is.
We're here in response to Professor Price's little problem.
Ah, right. Please close the door. I'm guessing
I'll close the door behind us.
we don't want this this getting out, of course.
Quite.
Please
Absolutely
pull up.
not.
There's one chair in front of the desk and an overstuffed armchair in the other corner. Sorry, don't really have enough chairs.
I'll pull the overstuffed armchair out, turn it round, and lean on the back of it.
He looks at you a bit. He looks at you a bit askance, and then yeah.
This is my associate, Mr. Thing that Gavin can't remember, but that Owen knows.
Seth.
Yeah, cheating.
Pleased to make your acquaintances. I'm guessing you have some questions.
One or two.
Yes, the first thing, we'd just like to hear it in your words.
Honestly, I don't know how much there is that I can tell you. I was in the lab on Friday morning. I left before Professor Price was due to leave. He had an engagement in Edinburgh or something like that, I believe. And then I received a phone call from him on Monday morning prior to me leaving my rooms. At which point Professor Price informed me that he had succumbed to some kind of stomach ailment and would not be in the lab. At which point he directed me to tell the others, and that we should carry on the researches that we were doing, and then he would see us on Wednesday.
And what was your research at this point without the professor around? What did you do when he didn't come in?
Well, I returned here. Most of my research can actually be done from this department. I am not actually needed in the lab that often.
Were you due in the lab on Monday morning?
No, I wasn't.
So why would he phone you in deference to someone who was?
That I cannot tell you.
I love all the intense. Everyone's having mental strokey beards.
There's no mental about this strokey beard.
Yeah, it was...
I would, as an aside here, obviously not in character, I would like to point out that I know what a git it is for the GM for me to keep going up to all these witnesses and saying, "Tell me in your own words what happened."
This is not my first investigatory rodeo.
No. It's just nice to see it happening to somebody else for a change.
As somebody who specialises in political and kind of campaigns and investigations, yes. I'm well aware of the curveball questions that can be thrown at me by my players.
Yes.
So when were you next in the office, at the laboratory?
On Wednesday, when I was there with the others.
So you had no call to be in. Would you have normally been on Tuesday, or did you stay away specifically because Professor Price was ill?
No, normally I would have been, but I had a prior engagement, of which the professor was aware.
May we ask what that prior engagement was?
No, certainly. I am the treasurer for the University Historical Society, and there were some ongoing matters that required my attention on Tuesday.
Were your associates aware that you wouldn't be in on Tuesday? That you say you informed you said the professor. You did the other two?
I believe so. To be honest, I cannot remember whether or not I told them. I have little cause to actually interact with them outside of the project, and to be honest, my reason for being there doesn't really impact either of them.
So,
I mean, Maya maybe. Well, Maya is the one that I have. Sorry, that was improper. Miss Sanderson is the one that I have been dealing with in terms of sharing of knowledge on this.
Oh,
Was
really?
that correction Chrono Magistrates, or was that correction Trevor's?
That correction was Trevor's.
So, it's entirely possible then, as far as you're aware, that if somebody was looking for an opportunity, they would know that neither you or Professor Price was going to be in at that point, because Price had phoned in sick and you weren't due in anyway.
Sorry, could you just repeat that? I didn't catch the beginning part of...
So, as far as you're aware, it's entirely possible that one of your co-workers could have known, if they were looking for an opportunity, that neither you nor Professor Price would be in over those couple of days because he phoned in sick and you had a prior appointment.
I guess that is true. Yeah, that would not be an unreasonable supposition if you suspected one of the other other students to be involved.
The whole arrangement was supposed to be confidential.
Indeed, it is.
So that severely limits the number of people who could have known it was even there. Unless, have you told them?
Nobody outside of a very limited number of people should have known it was there. Yes.
So you haven't let slip?
No, to be honest, I'm too busy outside of that project for it to bear much of an impact. I am also very well aware of my responsibilities as an academic in this regard.
Make a check to see whether I believe him?
Yeah, sure. Give me a presence or manipulation plus empathy.
Decisions. I get 2 extra dice on manipulation.
Although I haven't been questioning, can I make the same roll to assess the same thing?
Sure.
I think I'll go with the presence. With the way my dice work, I'm better off with 1 success than 2 extra dice.
You get a success.
Probabilities, don't you just love them?
Has nothing to do with the way fish rolls. Literally.
I have seen and experienced that. Yeah.
Okay, that's 4.
And 5 for me.
Oh.
Purely because I have an epic in presence.
So
Yeah, 5. I forgot the epic.
excellent. Okay, so you are both. He's speaking in very clipped tones. He is trying to be. You get the feeling that for someone as young as he is trying to be as precise as possible when he is talking to you. So it's difficult. It's difficult to say whether or not this is because he is either trying to conceal something, or because he wants to just try and get the information across to you as well as he can. He does seem a little bit stressed. He doesn't appear to. You do not believe that he has told you anything that is an outright lie.
I forgot to roll my extra die for detecting lies as well. But never mind.
Let me just double check. Go over what I did tell you.
Did I lie?
Yeah, the problem is, like, in a very talky campaign, in a very talky setting, it's like, did I actually make a note of which lies or what lies I actually said or not?
Yeah.
Web we weave.
Yeah, right there with you, mate.
Actually, I tell a lie. He did tell you a lie.
Ooh.
He did tell you a lie about not being in the office, or not supposed to be in the office on Monday. You do get the feeling that he, as conscientious or as strict as Professor Price seems to be about rotoring and timetabling for this project, you do get the feeling that he omitted to tell you that he should have been in the office on Monday, or in the lab on Monday.
can I just go back to Monday for a second?
Yes.
So, Dr. Price called you,
Yes.
and he told you not to go into the lab because he was going to be ill. Yes?
He said he wasn't going to be in the lab, and that we should carry on our researches as previously
Oh,
directed.
yes, of course. So he told you to go to the lab.
Well, he told me to contact the others and for us to continue the work.
Okay, not
we
getting
were
caught
doing
out
so.
that easily then. Can I just ask, because it's not my field, in layman's terms, what is your role in this investigation?
I am a specialist in historical astronomy. It's what I did my PhD on ancient timepieces. And I believe that is why I have been brought on, why I was appointed to this project. We believe that the mechanism, when it was complete, was some kind of calendar or device for measuring the passage of time in some way. Obviously, a very complex one, and potentially one that belied the technological advances of the civilization that made it.
I see. So, your assertion that your work doesn't really need to take place in the lab is down to the fact that they're accumulating data which you're then analyzing. Is that right?
To a certain degree, they are trying to get a better idea of the nature of the parts of the mechanism that are encased in rock. It is a material. The main reason for the lab work is that it is a material science question. Once the interior, once those bits are better known or better realized, then I might be able to give a better idea of how things fit together. Obviously, working in conjunction with Professor Price because he is the expert on this. I have been combing through the literature primarily, to see if there are any records or any other information I might be able to find on the nature of timekeeping or like horological devices of the time. Ancient Greece is not my speciality, but I have expanded my knowledge into this field.
Well, obviously we don't need to go into too much detail. We're not here directly about the investigation. We're here about the disappearance, obviously. So you have no idea, other than yourselves, who might have known that the device was in that lab.
No, the only supposition I can make is that knowledge of the device, knowledge of the artifact, was more widespread than we had hitherto believed, and that exterior forces are working against us.
So you dismiss immediately the idea that it could have been one of you.
I dismiss the possibility that it was one of us directly. Obviously, whatever forces or such could have co-opted one of the others, I guess. I would not dare to cast aspersions on Professor Price, of course.
Well, obviously. Although... Seth, any questions you want to ask?
Yes. obviously you weren't there at the time this happened. You left early on Friday, and you weren't again until Wednesday. Have you seen anyone out of place at the lab? Anyone near to the lab that you wouldn't expect to see, or maybe as you were pulling out a car, or someone in a car that may have seemed out of the ordinary, not what you would expect? Anything that might have caught your eye and you've since dismissed for whatever reason?
Not that I can recollect, I'm afraid.
Have there been any arguments between members of the project and people outside the project? Maybe loud, angry phone calls, maybe someone seeming a little more nervous or guarded than you might expect?
Well, now that you come to mention it, I have, and obviously I do not know him very well, but I would say that I do have some concerns about Nicholas Ford Richardson.
How so?
Obviously, it is not. This is mere conjecture. I have no proof, or I have no evidence to suggest that there may be something untoward going on. But there were occasions in the week leading, or the week prior to Professor Price going away, or prior to last weekend, that I noticed, and Professor Price did comment on Mr. Ford Richardson returning late from lunch on a number of days. Well, obviously I was only in the lab on one day when this happened. The others were from Professor Price, but he did seem. I'm not sure nervous is quite the right word, but whatever you would consider maybe a stage down from between nervous and normal.
Agitated?
A little bit. But aside from that, there's nothing else.
Did you give any indication as to why he might have been out of sorts?
No. At least not when I was there.
And what about Maya? Has anything unusual been bothering her, perhaps?
Again, not that I'm aware of. She has been a most excellent co-worker. I have no faults, especially for somebody in their first year of their PhD. She seems remarkably diligent and dedicated to her field and to this project.
What does Nicholas Ford, I've forgotten the other figure's name, Richardson, add to the project? What is his speciality?
He is a technician, a material scientist. Professor Price requires him to operate and interpret the readings from the scanning machine. I believe that he was part of the team which worked on developing that technology.
So he's got no other interest in the project. He's got no. Does he have any any interest in the findings that you come out with, other than those around the machine that he's operating?
I do not believe that he has any academic interest in the project's findings itself, other than what it might be used to verify and support his own work.
Thank you.
But from what you've said, his is the most important job.
In the lab, at any rate. Well,
You did say that it was primarily a materials investigation, and that's his side of things, isn't it?
well, the lab work is primarily a materials investigation. Obviously, it is a combination of research and of Dr. Fitzhendrick, is it?
Yes.
I'm sure we are both aware of the importance of the literature in matters of this nature. Science is not only the nuts and bolts, as it were.
Do you socialise much with your co-workers on the project outside of the project?
No, as I said, I have my own interests that take me away from doing so. Obviously, we have had the occasional post-work drink together on the occasions when all four of us do happen to coincide and be in the lab at the time that we are closing up. But we often work late, or rather, Professor Price and Mr. Ford Richardson often work late. My own researches or my own necessity for to be in the lab often allows me to leave at earlier times. More often than not, what I am doing is just checking in and corroborating and discussing my findings with either Miss Sanderson or Professor Price.
Thank you.
Chrono, while they're doing the rounds of the people,
Yes.
we're sort of evolving a theory over here. What's the... please don't laugh. Hey, if we're having conversations, we may as well have conversations in character.
Yeah.
Wondering, what's the closest decent library here? Please don't laugh. I don't know Cambridge.
Okay, what kind of library are you looking for?
Mythological. We're looking for the content of historical, anthropological, and mythological.
So you're in the Department of Material Sciences.
We are.
Your closest, the closest library for something like that would be the library of the Department of Archaeology and Anthropology, which is basically across the road.
Okay.
That sounds perfect.
That sounds bang on for what we're after. Yep.
Other than that, general college libraries may have information depending on how large the college is. The largest colleges around nearest to you would be either Downing, King's, or Trinity.
Yeah, I think the one across the road sounds like the plan.
Obviously,
Regan
there's always the university library itself on the western edge of town.
Yeah. Okay, Regan's got the...
For our younger viewers who may not know, a library is like a big room full of Wikipedia printouts.
You see that?
Like the internet in book form.
Yeah, this is one of those. I love hampering people like this. There's no mobile phones. There's no internet. It's great fun. You're going, oh, I'll look that up on... No, I won't. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, Regan's got the ancient Greek, and I've got a speciality in anthropology.
Okay.
We're having thoughts, and I think between us we should be able to manage having those thoughts in the library.
Cool.
So yeah,
I will jump back to you then after Seth and Owen have finished with Trevor.
Okay.
Finish grilling poor Trev.
I've pretty much run out of questions. So the night.
Like turns on the desk lamp, points it at their face. So casual chat then.
Pulls out the rubber cosh.
Okay. At this point, are you basically at the end
I
of
do
your
have another
question?
question. I'm just trying to
Okay. Sure.
get caught off guard there by the interrogation pranks. One thing caught my attention is something you said earlier. When you first referred to Maya, you initially said Maya and then jumped to a more formal Ms. Sanderson. Why would you refer to her more informally to people that you don't really know from the get-go? Do you have more of a relationship with Maya than you do with the others on the project?
This is where he starts sweating.
He looks a little bit affronted, but goes on to say, no, merely that she is a colleague, and therefore referring to her by her first name, as you say, to persons who I am not acquainted with, was a faux pas. And I merely caught that and corrected myself.
Is he telling the truth?
Can you give me a presence or manipulation plus empathy, please?
I'll try.
This guy's been very suspicious. Since
Just
the
2
get-go.
successes.
You believe he's telling the truth? Okay. Owen,
What have you done with fish?
Owen, yes. He is telling the truth on this. He seems to be a gentleman who. He seems to be a person who puts a great stock in propriety. He, again, this all seems to tie in with the fact that he appears to be an academic in a position, again, younger than the role that he seems to find himself in.
He's very insecure in his position, isn't
Correct,
he? And as a result, it's affecting his behaviour in certain ways.
In a similar way,
being one of them.
Yeah, in a similar way to Professor Page was, but on a slightly different axis.
Yeah.
This guy knows that he has the capability to do what he is being asked to do. He's just not entirely comfortable with it, and so he is trying to play at being older.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
Yeah, that
cosplaying
makes
as a
sense.
mature person.
Yeah, a 25-year-old trying to be a responsible adult.
Oh, that never goes well.
It'll never work.
Yeah.
See, that in itself is sus. Let's just arrest him and slap him in irons now.
At this point, his telephone rings.
Ooh.
Another telephone.
Excuse me.
Yeah, but this is an office, so
He picks it up, listens. Oh, really? Is that the time? He looks up at the clock. Yes, please. Send her up. If you'll excuse me, gentlemen, unless you have anything further, I do have an appointment.
Anything to do with the project?
No. As I say, it's to do with the University Historical Society. We had a fundraiser at the weekend, so there are a number of matters arising out of that that I have to deal with as well.
Thank you for your time.
yeah, for now, yes. Thank you indeed for your time. You understand, of course, that we have to ask these questions.
Oh no, of course. Whatever it takes to get to the bottom of this mystery. Obviously, we do not wish there to be an incident with the Greeks.
And we will, of course, keep you informed as to what we find. But
Thank
I'm
you.
sure you'll want to stay in the loop.
Obviously, thank you.
Just one more thing before we go. When my... I love it when I
Now
suddenly
who's
find
got
my
the
notes where it said,
Yeah.
ask this, and miss it completely earlier.
If he says, as you wish, I'm leaving. I just
Yeah.
wanna let-
When my colleague introduced us, you seem to know of the department we work under.
Whilst I have not had dealings with your department myself, the work of it is not unknown to a number of the persons in this department.
I see.
obviously, as we deal with the historical and cultural artifacts on a fairly regular basis, your name has cropped up in relation to other artifacts and such that that have either passed through here or the department has been called upon to provide expertise upon. There are many who, without the scruples, to leave such artifacts in the academic or public domain.
Indeed, there are.
Indeed. Thank you. My apologies for the last minute question.
No, not a
Sorry
problem.
for taking up so much of your time.
Obviously, no need to apologise. I am here to help. If you do have anything else, please do let me know.
We will. Thank you.
Right.
And thank you for your time. Have a good day.
And you, gentlemen.
Off we go.
Just
Okay.
one more thing.
Okay. You leave his office, and start heading downstairs. As you do so, you pass a tall woman coming up the stairs who has to pause on one of the landings basically to let you pass. And she's heading upstairs.
A tall woman, you say?
Yes.
Does she look like the tall woman we met in the pub last night?
Not dissimilar. Obviously, you only saw her sitting down.
Yeah.
Same character model.
And shadowed. But possibly? Oh,
PQRST?
no. I also completely forgot a piece of information that you should have had.
Whoops.
Not going to help.
Snuff, neep, nick, roll it back. Dump it in.
Slight rollback.
Yeah.
I mean, this game.
And I
does
really,
have
and
a
I
lot
really
of
do,
time.
I really do apologise because this is information that you should have had. Trevor is the young man you saw in the Eagle last night. I forgot it was you. It was you who was there.
Ah.
Trevor is the young man you saw in the
definitely is
booth.
something you should have known.
Yes.
Yes.
We were speculating about that in chat.
I really do apologise. I say I completely forgot there was Knight who was at that rendezvous.
In that case,
Yes, and this does look. Now that you think on it, yes, she does bear a remarkable similarity, at least in outline, because you never saw her
Stature.
face, to the woman he was meeting with last night. But you pass, she heads on up.
I smile at her as she goes past.
Okay.
Now
Did
that's interesting.
you guys know what Miss Sanderson, Maya looks like?
Haven't
yet.
met her yet.
Do not, so you're heading on down and out.
Possibly
Yes,
not.
indeed.
Are they?
Well, all right then. Maybe not.
You know the setting better than I. Alex and I bumped into them. I say bumped into. Saw them from a distance at the pub last night when we were scouting the terrain. They had somewhat of a heated discussion then. It may well be this fundraiser thing, but I'm a suspicious sort. Should we let them do their thing and carry on to Maya, or shall we interrupt?
What do you have in mind? Did you want to
I
spy
don't
on
at the
them?
moment.
I've never done that.
This is why I think perhaps we should leave it for the moment.
You have microphones and everything. A microphone.
It's not microphones. I've got communication-related divine powers.
Yeah, good points.
Well,
That explains my notes earlier about you muting the room.
see, I
Yeah.
didn't bring the rifle mic with me. I didn't think I
Well, I
need to
could
sit outside.
theoretically do the opposite. If I
really
can
bad
mute a room, I'm fairly certain I can tune in on a conversation from a distance
Is
as well.
that a rifle mic in your pocket, or are you just
Or you
pleased to
just
zoom?
please to see me.
If we can tune in on a conversation from a distance, then we should see if we can eavesdrop.
That's a very intense look.
I think
Apparently,
We
I do a lot of those.
probably give her time to actually get into the office, then quietly head back up.
Ding, ding, ding. So,
Cool. So you're heading down and out of the department.
And then back down, and then back up again to eavesdrop.
Sorry,
Attentively.
as in heading your. Sorry, I'm just trying to get. You're heading down to what, like the reception landing?
Fish?
I get the impression they're not
I
actually
think-
leaving the
Yeah,
building.
we're not now leaving, so we'll pass on the stairs.
Yeah.
Give her time to
Get in, sit
get
down.
to Trevor, and then
Right.
sneak back
Okay. Right.
and endeavour to spy on their conversation.
Sure. Okay. Can you both give me a resolve plus occult roll, please?
Dun dun
Oh,
dun.
bloody hell. Are you sure?
Hey.
Yep.
It's their turn to get exploded.
Absolutely, horribly, terribly sure.
I am positive at this point that is a roll that I would like you to make.
Right. Shit. Two successes.
Okay, that one's
The most I could
got
possibly get on
reroll.
that roll.
Okay.
And one of those is an epic.
Oh, bloody hell.
Including
Wow.
my epic, that's 6 successes.
6 successes. Okay.
Fish, what, I'm sorry, where is Fishy and what has happened to him?
No, this is absolutely. It's. I hadn't realised before. Dice pool systems love me. My dice tend to be extreme. I'm rolling loads of ones. If there was a botch mechanic, I'd be in trouble. But I'm also getting tens.
Okay.
There's stuff in the middle that isn't appearing.
So, you both feel an upwelling of divine power. That
Oh shit.
Bye.
it's like like a surge of water that seems to emanate from below you,
Below us.
that bursts up and strikes both of you. Owen, you basically weather this completely unharmed. That you let it basically break around you and come out of this completely fine. Seth, you basically feel like you are standing in a torrential burst of water, and you collapse. You are asleep.
Shit.
Well, it wasn't his power that was needed for the spying anyway.
At this point, I'm going to say let's take a
We're going
break.
to jump to the other
Okay.
guy. Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Refresh your drinks, get up, stand up, take a wander around.
Yep.
I will be back in a few moments. If anybody in chat wants to ask players question or me when I get back, we will do so.
Now's the
So,
time.
I will
Back in a moment.
also be back in just a moment.
Right, I won't stick up the AFK then, if there are people lurking
Perhaps if we're
around.
breaking shifts, and when they get back, those of us that need to step in
Yeah.
and do so. So we can have a bit of a oh.
You owing.
Yeah. I was not expecting that.
Yeah. I would love to know whether it's a similar sensation to the booby trap that was left in the lab.
It didn't sound like it. It sounded a little bit different.
Yeah.
This was more like a waterfall hitting him
Yeah.
from below.
Ours was more
Yeah.
like a pressure wave. So
Yeah. The shockwave from an
Yeah.
explosion. kind of
I'm
thing.
sticking with what they've just said in chat though. Someone's not shy about throwing power around.
Yeah.
Also,
But it came from below,
one
not
Yeah.
above.
Yeah.
Well, not the same level. So, my first thought was, okay, this tall woman is our Scion,
Mm.
but maybe
Yeah,
not.
it's possible.
But
I
if the
do.
power sent came from below, possibly
Yeah.
not.
I do want to know what you were asking is how do you go about. Is there a detect Scion minor power?
That's a very
Yes.
good question.
Yes, there is. So the minor power, the reason I asked earlier,
Yeah.
the question that I asked was, crap, got pulled up. Doop-de-doo. Because one of the main minor powers that we all have access to is sense divine power. Determine whether divine power has been used in your vicinity with a resolve and a cult,
Yeah.
which is also what he's using for us defending against attacks of that
I
nature.
didn't have the rule set up, so I completely forgot we had a common power set.
Yeah.
hmm
Time to hit the rules.
So that's why I asked, is it possible to use that same sense divine power specific to a person?
Yeah, good point.
That's a very good question.
Yes.
And also, these are basically suggested, and there's other ways that we can use our powers, especially specific to ourselves, our own deities, in a creative way. The difference between minor and major being minor is smaller, figuring things out, maybe pushing something this way, whereas major ones, for instance, one of my major power use possibilities is to cause any item that I am familiar with or object to appear in a mausoleum.
That's interesting.
That's really specific.
It is. So if I was familiar with this object,
Oh, just as well you're not.
yeah,
How
could have
to
just ended the campaign right
completely
there.
break the scenario.
Hmm.
Mind you, one of my major powers could be used in that sort of regard if I was getting sneaky,
Yeah,
which is ascertain trade route.
that's the difference between minor and major. We
Yeah.
do have fluidity in suggesting minor or major
Yeah.
powers.
Right.
Exactly, yes.
Right. I am going to take a brief AFK now.
Sure.
Quenna's back, so back in a mo.
I'll be right back.
Whilst we wait for the others to get back, yeah, if anybody has any questions about the campaign, the system, shove them in chat. I apologise for not paying as close attention to chat as I possibly should have been. This is still only like the second session I am actually running on stream.
I think Mickey is the only one in chat aside from us. I haven't seen anyone else, I don't think.
So yes, how are you finding this, Shard?
I'm enjoying it.
Cool.
It's actually rather nice to have the characters split as they are and actually being effective.
Yeah, because there is a danger, particularly with games like this, for you either to have got the split wrong, or in inverted commas, the split wrong, because obviously you GM should be tailoring things for the level and to accommodate the groups as you are as you guys decide to do it. But yes, I'm very much not of the opinion that just because you have decided to split 4 people into 2 groups and one of those groups doesn't necessarily have the right skills to do the things which are pre-planned and things like that. My games are not that rigid, and I don't think games should be.
Well, even if games are that rigid, it slows everything down, and then you just get nowhere.
Exactly. Exactly. You guys still need to be able to feel like you are succeeding in something, rather than constantly running into brick walls just because you have chosen a party composition that doesn't necessarily allow you to circumvent said brick walls.
I'm curious about how far range the walkie-talkies are, like maybe 5 miles-ish?
Gosh, how... This is a bit of a fuzzy area for me, because I do not know what the range on a normal pair of walkie-talkies would be.
They can... I think currently the normal range is somewhere between 5 and 25. Let's look. Walkie-talkie
Obviously, we're looking at the 1970s, so they would be on the
Yeah.
lower end of that.
Well, I think the range has more to do with the power than as
Yeah.
opposed to technology. Do, 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 do. Give me answers. 1940s, 1970s, blah 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 blah. It's telling me nothing about what I want. Oh, thank you. Vintage.
I'm inclined to believe they would be on the lower end of that. So 5
Yeah.
miles. Problem is, I don't drive. I am very bad at estimating distances, so I am not entirely sure what 5 miles would be.
5 miles in terms of walking would be probably about a 30-minute walk. Because normal walking speed is about 2 miles an hour.
Walking pace is usually 4 to 5 miles an hour.
Okay, so anywhere within about an hour's radius. Accommodate for building density and things like that. Power of the... Yeah, like, you've got a reasonable expectation that the walkie-talkies you've got would allow you to communicate so long as you are within the boundaries of the city, and probably a bit outside it, like the extended environs of the city, because Cambridge isn't that big a place. Now I'm going to see if I can find dimensions of Cambridge.
That could be all kinds of things. That sounds like an anime.
I
think actually no, Dimensions of Cambridge. That was a Capaldi episode.
Well, it is the 54th largest city in the UK, apparently, by population. I think without actually looking at a map, I wouldn't be able to get spread.
I would suggest that possibly the walkie-talkies have a range of dramatically appropriate.
Yes.
Sorry, it's not 5 miles. The average range is roughly a mile.
Right.
Roughly a mile.
Really not very far at all, is it?
Okay. So yeah, you would expect within the city centre you would definitely be able to contact each other.
Fair enough. I mean, that makes it even easier to do dramatically appropriate.
Exactly. Again, it's... I mean, I keep coming back to this. Like, Cambridge isn't a large city. I remember, so where I was studying at Magdalen College was basically one side of the city centre, and my lectures at the chemistry department were the other side of the city centre, roughly where your guys' accommodation is in this game, and that took me 20 minutes walk. So yeah, I will say that you can expect to be able to contact each other, building density, taking into account building density and things like that within the city centre. I think that's dramatically appropriate enough.
Handy.
Sure.
I
mean, it explains why we weren't able to just be like, hey, watch out for magic people.
Yeah, especially if you knew that they were, say, going to Girton and would definitely be out of range.
Yeah.
Especially if you knew that if Owen has bothered to pick up a walkie-talkie, it'll be shoved in his pocket, turned off anyway.
My God, you're my mother with her old mobile phone. I'll text you. No, don't worry, the battery's very bad. I'll have it switched off. Why do you own it?
My father was like that. He would call me or text me.
Yeah.
And there was no point trying to respond to him or contact him spontaneously because his phone was turned off unless he was making a call.
It's for him to contact you, not you to contact him.
Absolutely, yeah. Much to my mother's disgust.
That sounds like your dad. Very your
Okay.
dad. Okay.
Welcome back, everyone. Is everyone settled and refreshed?
New coffee. It's
nice.
fine. It's fine.
I'll try that again. I
Yes.
got not blessed that my parents are rather good with modern technology. In that respect.
My mum's fine now. She's got a new phone. She has no excuse not to have it switched on.
Okay. Everyone is suitably refreshed, we will get back to the action. So, at this point, we jump to...
Suitably dramatic point.
Yep. Thunk.
we will
Scene.
jump to Alex and Regan, who, having left the Department of Material Science, you say you are heading to the Department of Falconant.
We are going to invade their library because
Sure.
we have theories.
Ah,
Well, we have loose outlines that might turn into theories if we can explore a bit.
You've got a theory. Is
do
it
you
a
believe
demon?
those dancing demon?
Dancing
Yes.
demon? No, something isn't right there.
Right. Excellent reference.
Yes.
Excellent reference. So, you head out from the Department of Material Science, cross the road.
I do relock the file cabinet. Don't take anything from it. Just wanted
Okay.
to look through it, and then I relock the door behind us.
Sure. Are you keeping the key or returning it to reception?
Keeping the key for now,
Sure.
because it's we're still investigating, and I don't want anyone else to go in there.
Excellent. Cool. You head out of the department, make your way across the site, across the road, cross over onto the Downing site, and you've
Okay.
got a building which seems newer in look than the buildings surrounding it, and into which it looks like it has been done in mock Greek, mock Doric sort of thing. It's like the facade of the building has been made to look like the stereotypical pillars and triangular cap of a Greek temple.
Okay, either somebody was seriously influenced by the Grand Tour, or this is on the nose. And I am saying that to Regan.
Given that this is the Department of Archaeology, 6 of one, half a dozen of the
Yeah.
other,
Let's not try to think about this too much into this.
Yeah,
yes,
but if they have any replica temples on the roof, we are not going there without heavy artillery.
You are my heavy artillery.
Yeah, I meant that literally. Yes.
So, you approach the front door of the building. Door at this point, it's probably around. It's probably around lunchtime-ish.
Okay.
You probably didn't spend too long in. It didn't take you too long to get the info from
The lab.
the lab. And
No.
in terms of syncing up with the others, they are probably on their way to, or in the Department of History and Philosophy of Science at this point.
Okay.
Memo, no interaction needed.
And so you enter the building. There's like students. Basically, there's a throng of students coming out of the building, heading for lunch. You see groups sitting at various points around the quadrangle, around the courtyard, basically.
Oh my God, it's Brideshead Revisited everywhere you look.
Brideshead Revisited, but with the 70s aesthetic, so
Yeah.
lots more jeans and t-shirts,
Ooh.
and like a lot more tie-dye colours.
Oh god.
hair.
Yeah, I'm not criticising the hair. Trust me.
Of course not.
I'm trying to remember back because my ex's dad was at Cambridge at around this time, so I'm trying to remember the stories that he told after.
Probably lots of protests. Probably also not that clear about what they were actually protesting against.
Almost certainly.
Seemed
So-
like a good idea at the time.
You enter the department,
Yeah.
and the ubiquitous reception. This place seems quite. Although the department building is like only 2 stories tall, you actually reckon that many more of the floors are actually underground here.
My opportunity to destroy a piece of architecture.
No.
So,
Die.
Look for the biggest, most load-bearing pillar you can find. Apply your superhuman godly size 9.
so
Would I?
you have the reception desk.
I am actually going to fall behind Regan, who is of a more obviously academic bent than me. Although I do, I am, anthropology and such being a personal speciality of mine, but Regan looks more of an academic than me.
Yeah, I can't. What was my description? Androgynous tends towards a style that presents masculine. Business suits usually slate, dark gray, and I think a trilby.
Yeah, you see, this is the thing. I look more like your bodyguard. Or
Makes
your
sense.
police escort. So I'm actually going to fall into an at ease posture just behind his left shoulder. Oh, their left shoulder.
Sure.
Hello. We're here to. Where's your archaeological section related to Greek specifically, myths and sites, etc.?
She looks a little confused. Sorry, are you a researcher here?
You could say that.
Do you have your credentials? Sorry, the department library is restricted for students and researchers here.
I'm with the BCIS. I have to pull out my credentials, my actual.
ID.
Are these not credentials enough?
She looks a little confused. Sorry.
We are working with Professor Page's and Professor's Page. Professor's Page. God, I've not had enough of this. Hang on. English drop. Professors Page and Price, if that's of any help.
Page is the
Dean of Natural
the
Science.
dean.
Yeah. So are you? And she lowers her voice. Are you law enforcement?
Yes.
We don't like to say, but
if you bear with me one moment, she takes your card and goes into an office behind her. A few moments pass, and then she comes out, hands it back to you. Sorry, that all appears to be in order. And she's raised her voice a little bit. Yes, sorry, that all appears to be in order. And
not an actor.
And she directs you. She grabs two visitor passes from a pile next to her, hands them to you. These will get you access to the library. Yeah.
Excellent.
Down one flight, down the stairs, and to your left. And she shows you a staircase at the other end of the lobby.
Do.
Okay.
Walk away as if I'm confident and important.
Yes. I will follow. Keep doing the whole the eyes open and vision swiveling along, trying to act like I'm guarding Regan. But what I'm actually doing is I am looking for anyone who's paying attention to us.
Okay.
Not in any threatening way, just anyone who's actually noticing us and giving us more
Sure.
than a passing glance.
I mean, I am probably one of the only people in here at the moment dressed in a suit, so...
Okay.
All around me, all I can hear is down, out, down, down, out, down, out.
Okay.
I need a table to slide over.
Trut.
Yo.
For your alertness, sir, could you give me a composure plus academics roll, please, sir?
Yes. Good God. Sorry. The astounded sound of someone who's realised she's actually got the appropriate skills. So that's 3.
Well, it's a social
5.
attribute plus
Yeah.
plus an academic because it is
Yeah.
students you are you are keeping an eye
Yes. Okay, so I've got 5, but I've got a bonus success already, so that's cool. Bloody hell. Okay, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's a failure.
on. Wow. Okay. You are pretty certain that you are not drawing any attention other than the fact that you look a little bit out of place.
Okay.
No one seems to be paying undue or untoward attention to you, and you've got your senses are basically hyper aware at this point.
Okay, so no international assassins, no espionage agents going, oh, hang on, we should have our meeting somewhere else.
At least not within your line of sight.
Regan, are you back there being paranoid again?
Perfect awareness and all that.
So you head down to the library. There is a fairly large, modern-looking room with lots of shelves, periodicals, and it actually seems to be set up for studying. So between you'll get 2 racks of books and then various tables,
Okay.
a long row of tables of which there are a couple of students at them.
The proper way a library should be set up.
So
Okay, I'm fine on the English language stuff.
there is a
but,
librarian's desk there as you enter, and yeah, the librarian looks over her pince-nez. Passes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Is there anything I can help you with?
Any ancient Greek texts on the various gods, myths related to those gods, specifically
mythology.
time related?
Ooh. You will want. Are you looking for archaeological records or more social?
I tell you what, yeah, a little from column A, a bit from column B.
Okay. She does a quick flick through a. Actually, no, she wouldn't. She knows this library.
Yeah.
She's a professional. She basically points you in two directions. Archaeological mythology over there, anthropological mythology over there.
You take archaeology.
Greek, and she rattles off the Dewey Decimal numbers for Greek mythology.
Okay. I trust on finding the correct section and then taking it from there. Yeah.
So yeah, they're basically on opposite sides of the library. Yeah.
We'll just split the party further. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's not a problem. Don't you know you never
So
split
we'll
the party.
meet back here in the middle in about an hour, 2 hours.
Yep. Okay, so from my point of view, I am looking for things like the specific cults of the various ancient Greek deities, specifically in our case, cult of Kronos,
Mm-hmm.
So that's where my research is tending. Hopefully that will come down to where I can link it into any present day regions, with nothing else. So that's my end of things. Where if you're tackling the archaeological bit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Other artifacts that might have been that might have existed in the stories about it. Anything historical that does exist, where those might be, and what might have happened to those.
Right.
But also along the lines of Kronos, because we're pretty sure.
You're looking. So Regan is looking at the archaeological side of basically timekeeping,
Yes.
Greek timekeeping, and Alex is looking at the sociological, the anthropological.
Yep. Playing to our
Okay.
strengths.
Cool. Okay. Can you both then give me an intellect plus academics roll, please, with any relevant specialities?
Is it a bonus die for a speciality?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Jesus.
No, you're not looking him up.
That's entirely the law mythology.
Yeah.
My dice pool with academics and intellect.
Yeah. A bit good.
I have 3 intellect, 3 academics. I have an epic level in intellect, and I have archaeology.
Yeah, all right. You're going to get yours done faster.
Yes.
It's almost like I made characters who are capable of completing the scenario.
No.
Can I have an
say
excuse
things
to make basically this check regarding mythology? Because I want to roll 9 dice.
I don't think
Again.
it's even possible for me to roll 9 dice.
Multiple ways of achieving.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
Let me just check my notes for a couple of things. What information are you likely to be able to get?
All of it. Very, very,
Give it
all of
I mean,
it.
I got 6 successes included with the epic level in there.
Sorry, Regan got 6.
Mm-hmm.
And how much did Alex get?
6.
6. Ah,
We just need someone else to roll again, see if we get another 6 in there.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
Two tens in that
Regan,
lot.
we have your word first. No, sorry, I got confused there.
let me just do a quick look up or something.
Ow.
We're going to jump back to Seth and I can't remember your character's name.
Owen.
Seth and Owen, and it's just going to be Owen standing there like, why are you asleep, man?
Wake up.
It's actually Seth is going to be standing there like he's in a video game and has been slept. So he's still standing,
Oh,
but
like little
just
Z's.
swaying, and Z's coming above his
No.
head. Yeah.
Okay, that
While
would
the
be useful
villains
if we know,
continue their nefarious deeds, Owen will just be there drawing a moustache on Seth with a permanent marker.
Now, would
And
it
some
be this
more
style
with
of mustache?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I do like that mustache, by the way, but it's really different. Does
I
look
do
very
that
different.
occasionally. At
Looks
the beginning
cool.
of the year, I had full mutton chops. It was very leprechaun.
Okay. I was going to go with Sailor, but fair play. But
I was trying to go for Wolverine, but it turned out leprechaun.
sometimes the growth patterns just do not play out. Fair enough.
There's a big similarity between Wolverine and a leprechaun. They're about the same height.
Oh, quite a bit. Same height. Yeah.
Yeah, both
That's
completely
the only 2
unkillable.
things ever shorter than me.
No, Puck from Alpha Flight.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
don't
forgot
forget
about
that.
Right. Okay. So,
I really should pay attention to when I'm noting things down and expand upon them at the time, because I'm looking at this. I'm wondering why I wrote page 3 students.
Wow, that's a
Wow.
very different game.
I think there's supposed to be a comma in there somewhere, because it's got access page 3 students.
Oh, it changes it. I was going to say maybe it was an instruction.
Professor Page was
Do that.
telling us
Page?
about
Page 3 students for me, please.
the 3 students that worked with Greg.
Okay, so starting with Alex, and you say you're spending how long?
We're going to attempt to meet up after an hour or so,
Okay.
unless something leaps out of the shelf at us, which in this scenario conceivably could happen.
Sure.
And then there would be screaming and
And
gunshots.
then there would be screaming and gunshots and, boots.
Okay.
And the running and the dying. But yeah, whether we found anything or not, we're going to meet up to compare notes in an hour.
Sure. Are you obviously like on the sociological side? You're almost certainly just looking at books with regards to. Oh no, I mean
Newspaper clippings probably as well.
Okay.
Newspaper and magazine articles. Although I'm going to be stuck with English language because I don't speak Greek or read
Yeah.
Greek.
So
I don't think you'll find a lot of ancient Greek newspaper articles.
Didn't
Okay.
mean ancient, dear. I just meant Greek.
So, with regards to 1 hour's worth of study, you can either pick books or periodicals.
I'm going to start with books.
Okay.
I think that's probably a better grounding.
And Regan, books or periodicals.
Hello.
Have we got a frozen?
No,
No,
it just blinked.
Okay.
Are you still hearing us? Or typing? Hello?
Shard, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Okay,
Sorry.
sorry.
All right.
Question. Question for Regan. Within an hour, you basically got the option of: are you looking at the books or are you looking at periodicals?
For mine, I'm looking at the books.
Okay,
Specifically, since I do speak and read ancient Greek.
sure. Okay.
It's like a 50-50 shot of whether we're going to get important information.
Well, it's like because you get different kinds of information from both.
Yeah.
So, Alex,
Yo.
it's hard going. If like you very quickly get a breakdown of like your general overview of like who were the most important Greek gods, who is the Dodecathon and such. A lot of names that you recognise, like who are the 12, and such. When it comes to things like delving deeper on matters of a god who has purview over time, you're now looking at older myths, and yes, the name Kronos in various forms comes up. Same with like variations on the name Ion or Eon.
Yeah.
Obviously, at this point, the myths get quite conflicting. There are multiple stories about was Kronos actually a god or not, and was it actually just Zeus under a different name being worshipped by a cult or such? And again, these are the kind of things that it takes time to delve into that level of myth because it's not an obvious. They're not obvious myths, but you do find some information about suggesting that Kronos is a separate god who was worshipped separately in certain areas and at certain times. What you are able to get from this is that there are potentially 3 major cities that had. Whether or not you would describe it as, cult level or like open temple worship or such, but like 3 main areas where his where he was worshipped as a separate god. He had more significant followings than a handful, basically.
Okay.
And those are Rhodes, Chalcis,
Okay.
What?
Chalcis, Chalcis,
I'm scared that I knew how to spell that.
or Chalcis,
Yeah.
and Miletus, Miletus. Rhodes obviously being on the island of Rhodes, Chalcis being on the Greek mainland, and Miletus being a Greek colony in Anatolia, modern day Turkey.
It's Kalkos now, isn't it? Chalcis, or am I thinking of something else?
I'm not certain. I do not know modern day Greece particularly well.
It's okay. That's largely based on the fact that I've played so many Indiana Jones adventure games.
Once the omnipresent Creechy is not in chat.
I know! Just when it would be useful to have a native
Yes.
Greek speaker.
Oh, do we have one?
Frici.
Here at the moment.
Is it Thessaloniki he lives in? If I
Yes,
recall
something like
correctly.
that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Regan, from your book search, this is actually even harder going than Alex's search, because again, it's very difficult to find anything that is specifically relating to Kronos. What you have more success with are talk about Greek calendar making and Greek technological development, like ancient Greek technological developments with regards to timekeeping and such. And obviously the general gist of it is the Greeks were actually quite advanced in how they looked at astronomy and how they looked at the movement of the heavens, in mapping out celestial movements and developing calendars based on that. You get the occasional reference to the work that Dr. Price has already done, or Professor Price has already done, with regards to the paper he published in the late 50s about his initial examination of the Antikythera mechanism. You also discover that there were a number of Greek colonies that used information coming particularly from the Middle East and Islamic influence to inform their devices and to inform their understanding of astronomy and astrology. Rhodes was a major center for this. There is a very noted like center of invention there, that favored timekeeping, horologists, and the like. Same with navigational equipment, because often they were tied together in your ability to manufacture that and such. You do also get a few details of like the archaeological expeditions, for example, the one at the beginning of the 20th century that found the wreckage in which the Antikythera mechanism was part of the hull that was recovered. But you also get details of various expeditions into things that recovered calendars and similar artifacts. Most often fragmented. It's very difficult to find anything in any great sense of completion. From the books, you obviously get that most of what was found is either still in Greece or in the British Museum or similar national
Collections. Depends whether we stole it or not.
So that's what you get after an hour.
Right.
You meet back in the center of the room.
Yeah, okay. A literal exchange of notes, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
not much on Kronos on my side.
I've got potential centres of worship. Three major locations: Militis, Chalcis, and Rhodes. Seems to
Rhodes is one that I found.
Oh, we may have a winner.
Rhodes was, in terms of timekeeping technologies and influence from the Mideast and Islamic on those devices and sharing of it, Rhodes was a major center for the tech advancement and sharing of that technology.
Well, that's sounding like at least a vague lead, isn't it? So,
well, it's directly related to the mechanism and other mechanisms like it. That's about where they would be, whether it was made there or not. That's probably.
It's quite possibly where it was designed.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, if we can tie anybody involved in this to that area, that would be a start. Do we know where if the students have any ties in that direction?
Don't, but we could go and look up student records. I'm sure the dean would let us.
Yeah. I'd like to see if I can track down any more recent cult activity.
Sorry, back in a moment.
That's all right. We'll let you know what we're doing. Yeah, I'd like to track down any more recent cult activity. What? Sorry?
When the GM's away,
yes,
the players will play.
Yeah.
He just gained XP, didn't he? I'm sure as he was leaving, he said, "You've all got."
Yeah.
Ow. So you want to go and do some further digging?
Yeah, I want to do some more digging and see if I can track down any more recent cult activity in newspapers and magazines as far as possible. I will also have a Greek English. Yeah, I'll focus my search around Rhodes.
Okay.
And if you tackle the student records.
What is your plan now then?
Right, I'm going to see if I can use the periodical section and a Greek English Greek dictionary to track down any more recent cult activity or resurgence of worship around Rhodes for the cult of Kronos.
Right.
Which I'm using cult as in specialised worship rather than mad people in robes probably sacrificing pigeons or ferrets.
The traditional anthropological definition of cult.
That's what I'm. Yeah, that's You see, I do know it. I'm not a total horror maniac. But yeah, that's where I'm going to go. And
Fishy, would I do that?
And Regan is going to go tackle the student records and see if any of the 3 students with access. Have any ties to Rhodes?
Okay, so where are you going to do that? Or where is Regan going to be doing that? Or rather, the question I should be asking is, how does Regan intend to do that?
Regan intends to go back up to the front desk of this building and request access to the phone and the number to reach the dean. Dean Page, and ask him for permission and where I would find those records.
Okay. Let me think. Where would those records be?
I mean, they could be even in a building like this library is, because it's got multiple sections to it.
Yeah, but you're looking for actual student records, aren't you?
Administration.
Yeah, so
Might be a phone call from wherever we are, getting them to pull the files from the relevant
when
colleges.
you talk, you're able to get access to a telephone, and they put you through to Professor Page.
Mm-hmm.
He says that individual student records would be kept aside from if you're looking for like background information. Anything of that nature would be at college level. So it would be each student's individual college if they had information of that nature. He can ask. I mean, Alex is, or Drat was right in that he asks if you would like them to basically to request that info.
Yes.
Okay. He says it will take a little while for me to make the necessary phone calls.
That would be fine.
To do so. I can probably get you that information within 2 hours.
Sounds good.
Sounds fair. Once
Okay.
you've made that call, you can come give me a hand with the Greek periodicals, because anything in the native language, I'm stuffed.
Oh yeah, I'll come back and help.
Okay. Cool. Can you both give me those same roles then, please?
Yeah. So that is intellects and academics.
Oh no. What's a 4?
Will my anthropology speciality help?
If
Yeah.
you're following the same the same tack as you were previously, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
what I am doing, yeah. Okay, so yes. Not as good as last time, 3 successes.
Okay.
We're
At
getting
this point-
tired.
Whilst you set about doing that, we return to Owen and Seth.
Fuck it, that means I've actually got to make a decision as to what the hell I'm doing.
Owen, you have just felt this wave of power
Yeah.
sweep over the two of you, and it seemed to have knocked your companion unconscious.
Wow, did
He
you feel
appeared to be
that?
Half
Oh.
asleep.
Okay, I suppose first thing then.
Actually,
even though it's not gonna work.
you get a few moments. Given your locations, yes. Can Alex and Regan give me a
Oh shit.
resolve plus occult roll, please?
Dun, dun,
I
dun.
hate you so much. Okay. Oh, this is gonna hurt.
I'm fine. 5.
My mighty 3 dice. Memo, take the occult skill, John. Whatever else. Oh, hello.
All 3 of them are 10s.
7, 7, 10.
Wow.
I will take that. So 4 successes.
Okay. Actually, at the point that you are settling down to do your to do the next bit of research,
Mm-hmm.
You both very faintly feel a wash of power, as in nowhere near you, but someone has expended a lot of power somewhere not too far away. I will now jump back to Owen and Seth.
Okay, I think first thing is going to have to be to pointlessly shake Seth to see that he doesn't wake up.
Yep. No, you are fast asleep.
Yep, well and truly out. That's what I was anticipating, but I had to try it. I would feel a real fool if I rushed off and did something on my own, and it turned out all I needed to do was nudge him.
Memo, smelling salts now become the next thing we need to pack.
And this hit us from below, didn't it?
That's where you felt the wave emanate, or rather the surge emanate.
Whether that was the source of power or the controlling source, I don't know.
Shard.
Wasn't me. That was Regan. Sorry.
Oh, right, yeah, I am not a man of action. So Owen is going to try and haul Seth up off the floor, and I suppose the obvious place where I know I can deposit him is back to the waiting room. It's probably the closest place to the seat.
There might
Okay.
be stairs in the hallway.
Yeah, you managed to
Stairs. What?
basically wedge your shoulder under his arm and
Yeah, that's
hoist
what I had in mind. Yeah.
him upright, and drag, carry, manhandle Seth up to the fourth floor waiting room.
Yeah.
So
So
you are
something in
yeah, you are back. You are back up there and outside.
Yeah. Now, I'm
Outside
not
the
going
office.
to use any kind of power of any kind for this, but I am literally just going to put my ear up against the door, not trying to hear what's being said, but whether there are voices. I'm trying to ascertain as much as anything whether this was how targeted this was, whether it might have knocked out anyone else in the building.
Sure.
Can't hear any sound. I'll risk opening the door and find out.
Dun dun dun.
I just have visions now of you treating him like a Ken doll. You can never quite get the legs to bend enough, so he'll be sort of doing that whole half leg stretched out thing.
I was thinking Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
Um,
As if we've made no successes.
can you?
I dread to think what I'm going to wake up with written on my forehead in marker pen.
Ah, you've just got the moustache, it's fine. It's a more innocent time.
It was
Oh.
amazing.
Yes.
Can you give me a dexterity or manipulation plus subterfuge, please?
Okay, well, given that choice, it's going to be manipulation every time. And subterfuge. That's 3 successes.
3 successes. Okay. You cannot hear anything beyond the door.
Right, I've got a good excuse. If they are just, I don't know, having nookie on the desk or something. So I am just going to open the door somewhat hurriedly.
Him plays after dark.
And if there's anything other than unconscious people in here, I will immediately say, help, my friend's collapsed, or my associate has collapsed.
Okay. You grab the doorknob, turn it, and it doesn't
And
move.
it's locked.
The door is locked.
Bonking on the desk.
He's doing it privately.
Well, what are you expecting in the waiting room?
I think you're taking my joke comment about bonking on the desk a little seriously here, Drud.
I'm not.
Okay, well, I could still find out whether there's anybody unconscious in there by banging on the door. Because I've still got an unconscious person as an excuse.
Yep.
Bad phrasing. Thumping, that's a better word.
Sure. You
Not much better.
bang on the door, and there is no response.
Unconscious.
Great. That implies unconscious, doesn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the enemy's coming from below.
Yeah.
From beneath you, it devours.
Oh, God, another Buffy reference. I can't get away from bloody Buffy today.
I must admit, I'm kind of wondering whether I can pull a reverse here. And I'm not positive that I can, but one of my major powers, soothe the savage beast. I can sing a song, recite a poem, deliver a speech, etc., etc., and put the target into a deep sleep. So
Sure.
full of similar stunts to what's just been done. I'm just wondering if there would be any way to reverse that and instead use it to wake him up.
Well, what is your powers, or what is your domain set? Because if it's poetry in general, I don't see why you couldn't be able to do the reverse.
I mean, it's essentially I would be looking, rather than using it to calm him into sleep, I'd be using it to stir the blood, get his adrenaline pumping.
Enervation.
Whether it would work, it would probably possibly work for a drug or a more natural sleep, but whether it would work against the magical one, I don't know. Wondering whether it might be an option.
That is a very good. Yeah, you have powers over song and communication, and a song that puts to sleep, and a song to rouse the spirits. War bard kind of thing.
Yeah, the spell thing is quite appropriate for a Norse god.
How? Tell me, what it is? What is it that you are going to say, sing, recite?
Sing for us.
Right. I think it's not going to be sing. It is going to be a recitation.
Sure.
His area of expertise is primarily Welsh, but not exclusively Welsh, and it is sort of going into things like the epic poems and so forth. So I think an obvious way to go here is with some skaldic stuff. Go with a bit of Norse or Anglo-Saxon or something, Beowulf or what have you. Find a good, suitable, stirring, epic paragraph, and whisper it, but whispering loudly into his ear.
Okay, so you are.
Oh, that's a bit though.
Okay. I will say that. I mean, this is a major power. You are. Yeah. It is something that you're going to need to be very clear and vocal and definite about. So it's not something that you can just target at him. It is something you're basically going to have to be. You are declaiming it to the room.
I'll wake up anybody else. I'm okay with that.
Cool.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
So, can you give me a roll, because you are opposing the powers of another Scion?
I'm going to guess this is presence for starters.
So, yes. This is definitely a forceful ability. Can you give me presence plus? What would you do this with? Can you give me either? It's presence plus either perform or culture.
Right, it's going to be culture. Given that I'm going with sort of epic poetry, would this count for my mythology speciality?
Let's say yes.
Excellent.
You're not mucking around, are you?
So 6 dice plus an epic. Let's see. That's 1, 2, 3 plus the epic is 4.
Plus the epic is
not
Please
good.
Please be enough.
I just need to roll a couple of dice myself.
Making the GM roll. Yay.
Ooh.
I think that is a good sign.
You declaim this ancient Welsh skaldic poetry, and a few moments later, yes, Seth starts to come round, and actually, it's his eyes flash open, and you do feel your blood has been stirred. The power of it's almost like the power of a Welsh warrior has been emboldened in you.
Is it like he just downed 5 energy shots?
He's suddenly got an urge to go to war with one of the Edwards.
He wakes up with an immediate urge for mead.
Well, yeah. To be honest, though, who wouldn't?
That's true.
So yes, you have successfully reawakened Seth, or awakened Seth, rather.
Well done, fish.
Look, I think it came from downstairs. Shall we go look?
What about? Where are we? Well, let's look. You lead. I'll follow. Can I hit someone?
I'm leading. Why did I wake you up?
I don't know where I am.
All right, then I will lead at least long enough to let him get his bearings and wake up properly, and then at the first possible opportunity, I will just step behind him.
He's the victim of a jump cut.
What did I miss?
Well, somebody used divine power and it put you to sleep.
That explains a lot.
So we need to find them, figure out why, and possibly hurt them.
Oh, I'm so down for that. And it was from downstairs, you say? Let's go. Right.
Well, it felt like it was coming up from below, yes. For some reason, he's got a lot more Welsh now, and I don't know why.
Gareth
Probably the use of a
Pavlov.
major power that
Yeah.
does it.
That's it, he's not stuffed.
Channeling the heritage, you see, it's just coming through.
It's the wrong heritage. He's Norse.
Yep. Norse Welshman. John's the
Okay,
Viking.
you head downstairs. So, as you pass the reception counter at the first floor landing, you see like the secretary you previously just is looking around her disorientatedly, like she has just woken up from
He's just been, well, yeah, and doesn't know quite what happened. Yeah.
No, and just kind of glances at you askance as you head past the window. You get down to the ground floor.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And again, the hallway is just as it was when you left it.
How long was I out?
I think too long.
And if everyone down here is having the effects, we should go and check our friends upstairs.
Yes, well, they didn't answer when I knocked on the door, so I think they should be awake now.
You guys are getting your
Is
steps in.
Is there a basement?
No, there isn't.
Right. I think we should at least look outside and see if we can see a
The
car speeding away or similar. I don't think we will. It's been too long. They could have left quite sedately and still been able to get away. But we should look.
You open the front door, take a look outside, and aside from a few people walking down the street, nothing untoward you can see.
Right. Back to Dr. Trevor then, I suppose. Yeah. And check up on him.
Okay.
Targeting us, or
I'm going to quickly jump back to the other two.
Mm-hmm.
So, having felt that power surge, did you want to do anything, or were you going to carry on where you are?
I think
I think we probably ought to go
we
and
need to go see if...
Yeah.
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 We're going to try and triangulate the direction
Yeah.
and head in that direction.
Sorry, what did you say there, Fishy?
Mr. Henry, did they feel 2 power surges, in fact?
No, they
Oh.
didn't.
No, they didn't. Okay.
You're not that powerful.
I know, but I did manage to wake everyone up. So.
For reference purposes, it is dependent on your, and this is a little bit of out of character knowledge. It's dependent on your legend level.
Yeah, I had a feeling it might be.
Um,
We're all legendary newbies.
yes, you are legend 1. So you head out of the Department of archaeology and anthropology. Because it was a very weak, or rather, because the search that you got or registered was fainter. Can you give me an intellect plus occult roll if you want to try and track it?
Okay.
4. Yep.
So I'm on 2 dice. So we're relying on you there. Regan?
I mean, I do have an epic intellect, so.
Cool. Glad you do, because I got 1 success, not 1. Yeah. I got a success.
I got 4. That didn't come across.
Okay. You can pinpoint a direction.
I got as far as
We need
it's
to go
outside.
That way. And the faster we go, the more I'd be able to try and pinpoint more.
Okay.
You got a car, right? Yeah, we got 2 cars.
We got
have
cars,
one and they
yes.
have
Yes, we can pile into the Capri. We can all hop into Ramon.
I go sliding across the hood.
You don't actually need to.
Oh, come on. Spoil sports.
You're, alas,
He wants to slide across the bonnet.
To be fair, you can slide it. Yeah. Okay, fine. You leave up, slide across the bonnet, land, realise actually it's just actually over there that you need to
go. Meanwhile, there's someone outside.
I'd just like to point out, Regan's doing this in a suit.
Yep. A couple of students look at you very funnily. As you basically cross over the road and head down a side street. Alex, you recognise that you're not actually very far away, or rather, you're actually now just round the corner from the pub where you were last night.
Okay, so somebody was having a chat here last night and looked a little bit on the suspicious side.
So you basically follow Regan's scent, and you find yourself on a street, like a narrow street with a bunch of academic buildings along its length. You don't think you can pinpoint. You just know it's somewhere around here that it originated.
Pull out the walkie-talkie.
I think for ease, I am going to say that at this point, you notice one of the doors open, and Seth and Owen pop their heads out.
What are you doing there?
You know they have divine power. They did it.
So, slight retcon then, as in you open the door, you don't see any cars or such and a few students, but you do see Alex and Regan come around the corner.
Yeah. Pounding along, yes. With
me anybody running that way, did you?
No, you didn't.
No, but this is a really familiar pub.
Also,
yes, it's where we went drinking the other night. And have I got a story to tell you?
So do we.
Drink in the pub?
Pub.
Certainly.
Did you want to check on Dr. Trevor or not?
What have you done with Dr. Trevor?
Sure. Yes.
What exactly happened?
I fell asleep. As did everyone else in the building.
You don't look tired at all.
Somebody... Sotto voce. Somebody unleashed power into the building and put everybody asleep.
Yeah, the echoes hit the library.
Just to answer a question that Nightbite brought up in the chat. So, difference between major and minor power usage. You have 2 pools. You have your legend, and you have a pool of legend points. Legend points are what you use to fuel your minor power usage, and legend. You spend your legend in order to activate a major power. So
I did
for
use my
today,
major.
yeah,
That's what I thought.
Owen has used his major power, so he cannot use another major power again until he rests.
Which is why he's trying to stand
recharges per
behind
game
there.
day rather than. Sorry, the
Yes.
recharges per game day rather than per session.
Yes, per game day. Yeah.
Okay.
The same with your legend points. They refuel or they recharge per game day. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
Shall we
you
go
guys-
check on this Dr. Trevor, who you seem to think is in some kind of trouble?
Well, possibly
Well,
succumbing
everybody-
to the same effect as I did.
Everybody in the building.
I'm going to stay downstairs
Yep.
and try to figure out if this is the same power that we felt
Good idea.
What I
previously.
do know is that Dr. Archwood's door is locked.
Right.
So if
So
Rat's been waiting for a
something
door to
happened to
kick
it.
open.
So 3 of you are heading upstairs, and Regan is staying outside.
I think
I'm not
given
sure that's
the
a wise
situation,
plan.
Doctor, if you stay with Alex, I'll stay here with Regan.
Regan. Sounds safer.
We're
I don't
mixing
like
and
the idea
matching.
of any of us being alone.
Okay. So 2 of you are heading upstairs, and 2 of you are waiting down in the street.
Turn your damn radio on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, I will show Alex the correct door. Largely
Okay.
ignoring you by now, probably awake again. This who is still wondering what's going on.
Regan. So what was it you wanted to do?
I want to actually use, because I know previously it was just like feeling the room since it had already gone off, but I wanted to use the minor power sense. I can't remember what it's called.
Sense divine
Yeah.
power.
Sense divine power,
Okay.
and see if I get the same feeling as the same sense of what that power is that I got in the
Sure. Can you give me a resolve plus occult roll then, please?
Hi, Moonlight. That's 3 successes.
3 successes. You are pretty sure that what you are feeling here is the same as what you felt in the lab.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Upstairs, Alex and Owen, you are faced with the door to
Trevor's office.
Trevor's office. I
I
keep forgetting what his
know
name is.
that-
Dr. Trevor
Archwood. I
Archwood,
remember
that's
right.
it, yes.
I know Alex wants to kick the door in, so I am going to put a hand on her shoulder as we enter the waiting room and say, knock first.
What do you take me for?
We have met, you know.
Okay, yeah, I am going to both knock and, in fact, try the door.
Sure. You knock, no response. You put your hand on the doorknob. It is locked.
Happy?
Here you go.
Right. I think I can smell gas. And yes, I am aiming a hefty sole of the boot at the lock.
Damn it. I accidentally closed your character sheet.
I'm thinking this is a might roll.
Yes, I just wanted to double check something on your sheet though, before I tell you what exactly the role is.
Specialty.
I don't know, if it comes under defending the team, it might be.
So, this is very definitely might. So,
Thinking close
I will
combat, but...
I will assume that that I do not know what your character sheet says, and offer you the choice of it is might plus either athletics or persuasion.
Well, thank you for making that a completely crappy roll. No, that's fine. I'll take athletics. I will take athletics.
If you can find a way to justify defending the team to me, I will.
I wasn't, by the way. Was thinking, however, close combat might be more effective because it is delivering the
Combat with the door.
appropriate force
Sure.
with a degree of focus.
Cool. I will let you use Might plus close combat then.
There's one die in it, but come on, I'm scrabbling here. I can't unfortunately justify. If any of us lot were inside, then yeah, I would happily argue for that. But you're not. You're all downstairs. So I am rolling only. Hang on. Yeah, 5. Sorry, I lost the ability to count to 5 then. Okay. Caffeine clearly not hitting the frontal lobes. Cross them, kids. Because I'd be really miffed if I'd done it. 3, 4. Oh, all right then. All of them. So 5.
5.
Yes.
Boom! Your heel goes straight through the lock. These are not strong locks.
I'm happy now.
I now have this image of Alex's boot through the door and the lock, but the door hasn't moved.
No, the door is too flimsy to not move with the force of that blow.
Yeah.
The door smashes back, slams into one of the bookshelves. A whole bunch of books come flying off, and scatter in front of you in like this arc of papers. As you've kicked open the door.
Mm-hmm.
And Owen, the room is exactly as you had left it, barring the fact that there is no one in there.
I thought you said that Trevor was in here.
Quick look around. There's no other. There isn't another staircase, is there? There's only the one.
The only other exit from this room is the window.
What did I bloody say?
The window is closed.
We already, once we sit down to drink beers, I have a supposition about how they're getting in and out of places that are locked.
This may not be the most useful check to make, given what has just happened to the door.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll look anyway and see if I can tell whether there was a key on the inside. I think if there was, it's probably not there anymore.
It takes you a few moments, but yes, lying against the leg of the armchair that that Seth had pushed forward is a key.
I wasn't sure if it might be embedded in the bookshelf. Well, the door was locked from the inside.
The door was locked from the inside. And the window is shut. I'm going over to examine
I won't
the window.
To open it, but I will look out of the window.
Yeah, I'm actually going over to examine the window.
Past you.
As I say, like the dust and the grime on the window make it very difficult to look out of, but you can just about make out the street below. It doesn't take a lot to notice that this window has not been opened in a very long time.
There's no suspicious.
Yeah, but given who we're dealing with here, that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
There's no suspicious, twin piles of dust or anything, near chairs.
No, there. Literally, this is an empty room, and you would have sworn it was an empty room, barring the fact that. Owen, you were talking to somebody in here, not 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And you're sure you were having this conversation? Did you actually touch him?
Are you actually judging his sanity?
I'm not judging, I'm questioning. Judging comes later.
I don't think I did actually touch him.
Nobody shook his hand.
He did offer his hand to shake.
Oh, so yeah, okay, yeah, I did touch him. Right, cool.
Okay.
Whether or not you took, whether or not you took him up.
Yeah, if it was offered, I would certainly have shaken.
Yes, he did offer.
Okay. So, where's he gone?
Why are you asking me?
Because we were in here and not asleep.
Not at the time. I was out there. Well, down there, in fact.
Right. Okay.
The door
My
So
immediate concern at the time was making sure that that Seth was okay, then getting everybody awake.
okay, reasonable.
Then I wanted to check this, and oh look, he's not here.
Right. So you say he was in there with someone else. Well, Seth said he was in there with someone else.
Yes, tall woman. I'll give as good a description as I can.
I'm going to rattle off the description of the fella from the pub and just clarify that yes, this was the guy, that Trevor was the guy we saw,
Correct.
because I haven't seen him.
Sounds like Dr. Archwood. Yes.
Right.
I mean, this would be a good conversation to have at the pub.
It would. It really would. Okay. I think a swift once round. Actually,
I'm actually going to try this walkie-talkie business.
you do that. I am actually going to blow a power, a legend point for the day. And I too am going to try the power sense. I
Yep.
know there's been the whacking great wave, but I'm looking for something more specific here,
Okay.
because there was the general stun blow across the entire building. But did something happen in here that's a different flavour?
Okay.
Flavor.
And then we can go to the pub.
Taste the Skittles. I mean the rainbow.
Okay. Can you give me a resolve plus occult roll then, please?
Yep.
So good at this roll, though.
DD, so that's all 3 dice. Woo.
You can use a minor power to re-roll as well.
Yeah, I know. But I have to find out what I roll first. Not whether I make it, but what I've rolled. Because that seems silly. Okay, so cross them, kids. Oh, alright then. 4 successes. On 3 dice. I love
Nice.
10s. 10s are nice. We like 10s.
You concentrate, and yes, like the room is awash with like the power usage, and you're getting the sense of, yeah, you think you can feel like something that was used outside in the waiting room, the waiting area, and yeah, you are feeling like residual power from like the backlash that you felt earlier.
Yeah.
But yes, there is something even brighter that is pulling your attention. The same power signature that you are getting, that you got from the lab when you felt that power wash over you, and
Yeah.
again with the same power signature as the eddies that you felt from the backlash. That power has obviously been used again here. And again, very recently, and it is focused around the door.
Okay. I'm going to examine the inside of the door.
Okay,
Because it's not completely shattered.
sure.
Whoever it is can basically make a door from one door to another door, go in, take a thing, and go back through that door.
Quite possibly. Whoever is doing this is way better than us.
That's why
We already know that.
Can you give me a dexterity plus subterfuge roll, please?
Ooh.
And again, list of
No
skills
subterfuge
Strat
for
doesn't
you.
have.
You could always walkie-talkie me up there.
I could, but I want the
was going
opportunity.
to get on the walkie-talkie and tell them that the room is empty and locked from the inside. Wasn't actually thinking of Regan so much as telling the PI who knows about investigating scenes, but you'll both hear it.
I think they need to...
Whoa!
And locked from the inside. The same
Yep.
as the safe room.
Yep.
3 successes.
Three
Okay,
successes.
so someone used some abilities there.
And then some.
They did.
Okay, you're looking at the door, and obviously it is somewhat the worse for wear for your previous entrance, sir. But what you notice, sir, almost out of the corner of your eye, on the now I'm just trying to remember what this would be. Where are you in? Okay, on the. Imagine the door is divided into like 6 quadrants.
Mhm.
6 quadrants.
Yeah, so-
like six areas
Yeah.
roughly.
Cthulhu
in-
door.
Yeah, in the lower right-hand segment,
Mhm.
near the base of the door,
Yeah.
you can see some chalk markings. And chalk that is obviously quite fresh.
Right. Someone's gone ritual on us. I'm going to take a photograph of it.
Okay,
Um.
using the Polaroid, I'm
Yeah.
guessing.
Yeah.
Sure.
The imbued Polaroid.
Yes. Yeah. Indeedy. Yeah. I'm going to line up and take a photo of that. And then, hopefully, by the time Seth and Regan come pounding up to do the site investigation, I'll be standing there like this.
Okay. So, Seth and Regan, you come up to the office.
Yep.
Mhm.
What do we got?
And description as
It's only a
previous.
small office, so I will step out into the reception room.
Yeah, with 4 of you in there, it's very crowded.
So, knowing that 2 people entered the room as we left,
Mhm.
can I apply some kind of science and forensics to see if there's been what's been moved, where, what sort of people might have been moving around in the room, and look for signs of things happening?
We want to see you, Jonathan Creek this like a good.
Okay. So how are you going to go about doing this?
So the first thing is, obviously, I know that I moved the recliner
That chair is in the same position.
in the same position.
Yeah.
Things on the desk, have they moved? Is there a rug on the office floor or anything? Is that
Right.
shifted? Seats different to how we left them. All those sort of very minor things.
Okay. Cool. Can you give me then a? Can you give me a cunning plus science, and you can use your forensic specialty.
And that gives me an extra die. Gives me an
Adds 1 die to your dice
that's
pool.
one die. Okay. In cunning and science.
Yep.
Right. Wish me luck, because I've got no epics on this. It's just the dice. Everything above a 7, yes?
Yes. Well, 7 and above.
And ones don't subtract?
No, they don't.
That's a relief. 3 successes.
3 successes. Okay. Concentrating, you take a look around the room, and obviously it's a bit difficult to tell given Alex and Owen's previous entry into this room. The door having been kicked open has made this more difficult because there are splinters of wood and such scattered about. You do reckon that papers have been moved on the desk. You also strongly suspect that a desk drawer has been opened. Just from the way that like things have been moved about and like that it is slightly ajar at one edge. You also get the impression that there was not a bit of the carpet near the door was like knocked back, so obviously people were probably standing near the door. But that's about it.
While he's looking at that, I want to take a look at the chalk markings that
Yep.
Alex took a Polaroid of, and basically run through in my head in a different way, but because did all that reading and studying earlier, seeing if the markings, ritual markings and whatnot, I can make sense of them.
Okay. What kind of role do you want to make for this? Like, how are you, like, what sort of knowledge are you applying to it?
I'd be applying occult. I don't know. I guess intellect would make more sense than cunning, in terms of knowing, but cunning would be in terms of like figuring it out puzzle-wise.
Yeah. So are you trying to just know what this is, or are you trying to figure out what it means?
Trying to figure out what it means.
Then it's cunning plus occult.
Okay. I mean, I rolled 7 dice, but I only got 2 successes plus 1 epic, so 3.
So 3. Okay. You, as the group's resident occultist, you are more familiar with the supernatural trappings of ritual than the other, because I believe I gave you the highest occult. So that means that you are more well read on these things, probably from having studied the library, the resources of the BCIS, and made this a focus of your of this. So you recognize, or you suspect. Actually, no, you would. Yeah, it is a ritualistic marking used to empower abilities. It's not something that is particularly well understood or known, but but putting 2 and 2 together, you suspect that it has been used to empower some kind of transport, and the location on the door of this marking would generally indicate the direction that said power is being expended into.
Okay. And what direction would it be indicating?
So, looking at the door, you're effectively looking at a direction that is southeast of your current location.
Great. I don't know how far, but I think they went southeast of here.
Well, that gives us a direction to go.
Then on our way to or from the pub, we'll pick up an OS map from the garage and see what lies in that direction.
Well, you probably have one already.
Mm-hmm. Or if nothing else, every car just grows them organically. I'm not convinced they
That's
ever get
also true,
purchased. Everyone's got one that's 2 years out of date. They come with cars.
remember you picked up maps of the city
Yeah.
Yeah.
from
We did,
the
I've
from the
forgotten
B&B
that, yeah.
yesterday anyway.
Yeah, we did.
Cool.
Okay.
So, are you decamping to the Eagle then?
Yeah, I think so.
I
Okay.
think we probably are, yeah.
Right.
And also, I just want to note that, I mean, I could continue to go longer, but I do need to drop
Sure.
off in at least 45 minutes.
We are getting close to an end to a
Okay.
convenient stopping point. So,
Mhm.
you decamp to the Eagle. You grab some drinks, sir.
Yep.
You sequester yourself in one of the back booths, sir. What is it that you are talking about?
Right. We'll explain about the booby trap in the lab,
The
Oh,
lock.
the lock, the use of power there, the specific use of power to age the lock into submission, and then the complete wiping of all remaining evidence with a magical incendiary, which overwhelmed everything else in the room.
Probably could have hurt us, but, you know,
Yeah.
we're tough.
Yeah.
so the doctor that has now vanished
Mm.
was the chap that we saw in here having a heated argument with a tall woman last night.
Was him. Right.
And just before he vanished, the same, I think, tall woman entered his office.
Didn't happen to notice if she had any chalk in her hands.
Didn't spot it.
I think we can guess that she's the one we're looking for.
Yeah. So the other thing is somebody had played silly buggers with the scanner in the lab. It wouldn't work as is, but it wasn't obviously
that's
broken.
optimistic.
It had just been sabotaged.
There were no images in the filing cabinet from the scanner, so those either got taken or don't exist.
When you say the scanner, you're talking about the machine.
The machine used to scan the mechanism, because it's not all.
Only Nicholas Ford Richardson knows how to use.
Yeah.
Does he now? Then presumably he'd know how to break it.
That makes sense.
I mean, if nobody else can use it, there's no need to break it at all. If you want it to be not working, you just press the button and say, "Yeah, it's not working."
There's an operation manual though in the lab. Seems pretty simple, straightforward.
But that operation manual could also be used probably to tell you how to sabotage it.
Could.
Do you like
But-
this Nicholas guy? Do you seem on the up and up to you?
To be honest, yes, he did. I mean, I'm not ruling him out.
Okay, so what were your
But I
impressions of
didn't
Trevor?
Well, Trevor was definitely hiding something, but I didn't get to the bottom of what it was.
Did you get a chance to talk to Maya?
Not yet.
My next
Not
question.
yet, no.
She
That was going to be our
on
next
our,
stop.
Tour. But this happened, and so we haven't been to visit Maya yet.
The
Understandable.
reason I'm curious about that, and we probably really do need to, is because her particular specialities, archaeology, and that other one you have,
Is it,
Anthropology?
anthropology. She has both under her wing, and that suits a particular the power base that we're feeling with these power shots. It's of a Greek pantheon, and we're pretty sure it's Kronos related.
Then I wonder perhaps
Well,
if we should pay
Archwood
one
did
final
have
visit either to
Yeah.
Trevor, or to Nicholas, or to the professor to get a description of Maya, because it might be she's our tall lady.
We are due their records.
Yeah, should be getting them shortly, actually.
We have the academic records of all of the students coming to us. So
And their backgrounds.
I would very
we
much
both
like to
got the
know-
impression there might be something going on between Archwood and Sanderson,
Yes,
although he denied it.
Uh-huh.
agreed.
And coincidentally, we can't talk to him about it anymore. So worth
I'd
looking
very much
into
like
them.
to know about Maya before we pay her a visit now.
We did some cursory research on the cults of Kronos and a little bit of mythological history, and it looks like both the Antikythera mechanism and one of the centres of worship is the island of Rhodes. Anyone with a tie there, I think we need to start looking at them quite seriously.
And if that transport spell is powerful enough, I wonder if Rhodes is southeast of here.
That's a thought.
That seems like an awful lot of power.
Yeah.
Regan would know that the amount of power that would be required to transport somebody from Cambridge to Rhodes, whilst not impossible for some of the stronger Scions that the BCIS has records of, it would be very, very troubling if you are dealing with somebody of that level of power.
Yeah. We can't take them on if they can do that.
That's where we just go. We hand over.
We can't get to them if they can do that. By the time we've hopped a plane to Rhodes.
Yeah, suggest we turn over the reins of power.
Yeah.
We welcome our new temporal overlords.
Right?
Okay, so we have investigations to do at the start of, to carry on with. We have goals.
Yep.
We have people to talk to.
I will give you one lead out of here because you have talked about, because you are discussing directions. Like,
I'm looking at the map.
Yeah.
Pulling up against the map.
Yeah.
Southeast of here, the first college it intersects with is King's.
Oh.
Now
And
that
actually, on a direct southeast bearing, that is the only college that it would intersect with.
college-wise, that's still Trevor Archwood.
That's his office. His rooms, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We might need to get there sooner rather than later.
Agreed.
Yep. I can hear the theme music kicking in.
Is it far enough away to use the car?
Not yet. I will tell you where when it is.
You just desperately want to use my car.
I just want to slide across.
You just like sliding across the bonnet.
I'd like to sit and try out my car.
Are you? Do you want to head there now then, or do you want to discuss some more?
Straight there?
I think we can discuss on the way.
All the action people, I will
We've
bow.
got radios. We could technically discuss on the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. You make your way through the streets. As I say, it's not very far. You're like 6-7 minutes walk from King's.
Jogging.
So you're quicker then even. Actually, it's less than 5 minutes actually from the Eagle. You enter the doorway. Like one of the proctors from earlier gives you a nod, Owen, recognizing you from earlier, and you enter the porter's lodge.
Okay. You guys know the way.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
Okay.
Lead on.
He wasn't here. We left a note for it.
Archwood. Dr. Archwood.
this
Where
is-
is he?
Oh, one of the porters, as you come in, and as you say, Archwood, where is it? Looks up. Oh, and he recognizes you from earlier, Owen. Were you still looking for Dr. Archwood?
Yes.
Yes.
As a matter of urgency, yes.
I'm afraid he's had to leave on urgent business. A family matter, apparently.
Uh-huh.
And how did he let you know?
He came through here.
So, from his rooms leaving, yes? The rooms he wasn't in.
Yeah.
He looks a little confused. He must have
Did
come
he have
through.
anybody with him?
Yes, he did. I mean, there is he. He must have come. He must have come through the
Yes,
back.
he must have, obviously. So, did he have anybody with him?
Yes, his aunt. He said there was a family matter that he and his aunt were had to leave immediately for.
Could you describe his aunt for us, please?
He gives you a description of a tall lady, matching the description of the lady who passed you on the stairs.
Huh?
Do you know what direction they went, leaving the building?
No, but I believe that they would have. Actually, he just said they exited through the front door.
How long
How
ago?
long ago? Jinxed it.
About 5 minutes. It's really unfortunate that you've just missed them.
Yes, it is,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it is. I rush out the door and I'm looking around.
You can't see anything. And at this point, we will leave it there. Now, what investigatory cliffhanger have you come to now?
Yes.
Well,
Okay, we've been inadvertently slandering Maya by the sounds of it.
so
Not
thank you very
necessarily
much.
rule that out.
I'm just going to make a note in my notes here at the bottom. I'm just going to write ARG.
We're not a million miles off, dear.
So that is where we will leave it for this evening.
Okay.
Session 3 of Time and Tide will be taking place. I think it is due to happen on the 27th.
That sounds right.
But that may need to change because I may actually not be around on that date. So
Okay.
we will discuss this in the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, everyone, for watching or tuning in later on YouTube. These will be going up as soon as we can get them up there.
Yep.
I believe they go up on your channel.
They
Jessica?
do, yes.
At the moment, they do indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. If anybody has any questions or wants to talk to me or any of us about this further, you can join us on the international Discord. I believe there is a command for that can someone throw up in chat.
Yeah.
Excellent.
There we go.
Yep. We all hang out there.
I don't know if it is already Drat, but if it's not, could you start putting the Discord link
Yeah, I will do.
in
Into
the
the
video
notices.
descriptions on YouTube?
Yes, okay, we'll do.
Alternatively, you can find me at GoodyGumDrop on Twitter if you wish to talk about this there, and I will be
Cool.
quite happily talk to you about this hack of the Scion system that I have done.
I'm enjoying this, I have to say.
Thank you.
I'm enjoying it a lot.
I say it's a little bit of a different fare from games that have been run on here. This is slightly more of an investigatory, talky kind of thing, which is more the style of game that I tend to run. And you'll be aware because you have because you have done a previous playtest of a scenario
Yeah.
of this system. But I'm having a lot of fun running this and giving it an airing under closer scrutiny here.
Honestly, I'm enjoying not having to do a whole lot of fighting. 'Cause fighting tends to take up so much time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More find the pieces and solve the puzzle. I like that.
Yes. This is a more puzzly based. That's not to say that they're
That we won't get hurt.
if next session is the final session, which I do hope, because I did only plan this for to be a 2 to 3 session scenario.
Yeah.
Then there may be a bit of action depending on how you guys go about finalizing all of this.
I got to kick a door open.
Yeah.
That's me done.
Yeah.
You
Very
guys, you're just happy.
Very
I recited
emphatically.
poetry. How much more action do you want?
Yeah.
I haven't raised anyone from the dead yet, so
What, sorry?
Give us time.
Did we get more than 3 paragraphs into your notes this time?
Definitely. It covered almost all of the investigatory side.
Wow. Awesome. Happy.
Yes. So, again, thank you everyone for watching and tuning in. And unless anyone else has anything to add at this point,
I think we're done.
I think we will bid you all a good evening.
Good night.
There you go.
Bye
Good night,
all.
folks.